All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. We are live. It is Tuesday, September 30th, and we are ending out the month of September. And while I begin the show, ladies and gentlemen, 143 on Robinhood. This has just been a wild day. When I left, we were at 138. Now touching 143. I didn't know if we would make the comeback above even 140 again. We were teeter-tottering and touching it between 139 and 140, went all the way down to 138.50. Not only did we make it back to 140, we crossed 141, 142, and now just as I went live, literally a minute ago, less than a minute ago, we hit 143.03. This is quite incredible. It has been a pretty wild day. We've got a lot to talk about. In the next 14 minutes, we will have Nike earnings. That will be a big one. So we'll discuss what's going on with Nike. Nvidia, obviously massive day for Nvidia, 185.50. That's up 2% on the day. It did hit 187.35 during the morning open. So we did get Nvidia getting all the way up to, what was that, 4.55 trillion. Right now, I think it's just at 4.45 trillion. So pretty incredible stuff for Nvidia. S&P wants to end out September green. S&P wants to end out September green. It was flat the whole day. Really, in the last 30 minutes, are you seeing some of this momentum? 665.47 on S&P. We got a bunch of other headlines across the board that potentially could be helping the broader markets get that momentum. Tesla as well, getting a little bit of news right there. 443 up 0.4%. We have the chief design officer give an interview, and we'll watch a little bit of a clip of that and see kind of how they're conceptualizing the Q3 deliveries for Tesla, which that data is going to be out on Thursday, and we'll see what happens there. Everything else is kind of flat, though. Salesforce flat, Meta's down 2%, Amazon's down 1%, Reddit's down 5%, Dell's down 3%, Google's down 0.5%, Grab's down 2%, AMD, SOFI bottomed at around 25.70, came back to 26.35. But Robinhood, Palantir, Nvidia, Tesla, and the S&P 500 are green on the day, which is very, very exciting to see. There it is, Robinhood right back to 143. I think there's a couple of headlines for why Robinhood's getting some of this momentum. It is now breaking through 143, and we'll talk about some of those headlines in a second. But it's having a moment. It's having a moment, folks. It is having a moment for those that were on the Palantir journey. Palantir also had this same moment around in November of 2024 and kind of piled in through in the later months of 2025. But that was with S&P and NASDAQ inclusion. Robinhood's doing this, I guess, on S&P inclusion and then potential momentum based on their product velocity. We do have some updates from Vlad. He tweeted some stuff today that we'll talk about. But there you go. Robinhood 143 on the day. That is a new all-time high. Nvidia again up 2%. Tesla just turning green as we get into the close. Palantir right there 182 as well. By the way, today is the 5-year anniversary of Palantir going public. Forgot to mention that in the morning, but today is the 5-year anniversary of Palantir going public. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then you got the S&P at 665 trying to go green to end out the day. Now, September is a rough month for markets, but this time around, the NASDAQ is looking like it's going to wrap up its best September since 2010 with a 4.5% gain on the NASDAQ. Again, we got about 10 minutes to see where the NASDAQ and the S&P end up, along with the IWM. IWM actually performing the best out of the major indices. Small caps, that's up about 12.5% for Q3, which is quite incredible. And we're going to see kind of how this plays out as soon as the market closes to get the official numbers. Here's the Nike pump or dump poll in the chat. Let me know who owns Nike and what you guys are thinking of doing with your shares. If you're adding, if you're doing an earnings play on Nike, if you're selling any calls or puts or anything like that. But Nike, we will get those numbers probably at around 405. As you can see on the chart right here on the screen, again, September is not supposed to be the best month for technology. And we're kind of getting a decent month across the board. Here's the heat map for the day. Again, red on some of the big tech names and the software names. Salesforce, ServiceNow, Adobe, Uber, and Intuit. All of those are down, along with Amazon, Google, Meta, and Apple. But then Microsoft's kind of green. Palantir's kind of green. Nvidia's pretty green today, breaking all-time highs. Then you got industrials and healthcare going green. Again, healthcare because Trump announced a new program with Pfizer for reduced prices on Medicare for different drugs. I don't think we have all the details of it. It will be called Trump RX. So it will be branded after him. Pfizer right there up 6.7%. That is one of the best days that Pfizer's had in a pretty long time. Robinhood 143.50. My goodness, I will check 144 resistance and see what we got going on. All of this to say we have a government shutdown that's likely happening. Trump did comment on it today. He said, I don't want it to happen, but it seems inevitable. And so you got Trump, J.D. Vance, Chuck Schumer, all of them thinking that we're going to get a shutdown. Again, we talked about in the morning, a shutdown is just not the biggest deal, in my opinion, and we'll review some of the historical stats on that. I also think it's a buy the dip if it does happen. But in the face of a looming shutdown, to still have this market momentum the way that it's happening, even if it's in a select few names like a Hood, Palantir, Nvidia, and the S&P, is quite incredible. Robinhood 144 resistance is 8,000 shares. 8,000 shares. I mean, dude, this is just quite remarkable. This is quite remarkable. Now, what did Vlad say to kind of add fuel to this fire of momentum? Well, the credit card is expanding. 450,000 people now have access to the Robinhood Gold Card. That is up more than 45% quarter over quarter. So it looks like they are continuing to expand the momentum in regards to the Robinhood Gold Card, and that's probably going to be a precursor to all the banking products that they're going to put out. Now, having said that, one thing that's very interesting to understand is that these prediction markets, there was a headline this morning is with the idea that that's going to likely start going global, and that was tied to Robinhood. Robinhood did not announce that, but Bloomberg reported it looks like Robinhood's trying to take those prediction markets global. Take a look at DraftKings over the past week. Down 15%. Robinhood up 13%. Now, I know the S&P 500 stuff is likely why Robinhood made a big move yesterday, but the fact that DraftKings is down, it's almost like the market saying, hey, we care more about prediction markets in the context of the overall sports betting industry versus the actual company that's tailored towards sports betting, which I thought was very interesting to see. I did not know DraftKings was down that much, but apparently that is the case. And it's not just DraftKings, another company, Flutter, which is another gambling stock, that's down 10%. And the reason for this is because Kalshi is launching similar sportsbook same game parlays, which drives 70% of Flutter's revenue. So the concept of replicating parlays through a prediction markets, I guess, is getting the market to be a bit scared of Flutter and DraftKings, but it's getting them to be very bullish on Robinhood. And so you're seeing that momentum right there. Wow, 143.56. We got 7 minutes. I don't know if we go for the 144 close, but if we do, that would be quite incredible. S&P, look at that. Going for a 0.5% move into the last 7 minutes of the day. It's almost like traders are fading the October dip because they're acting like there likely is going to be no October dip. And quite frankly, there might not be even with the shutdown. And maybe we do. But if you do, you probably buy that dip. So I think a lot of people are just like, all right, so I'm going to step in, especially because a lot of end of month rebalancing is happening right now. And some of that rebalancing might be in selling your losers to buy some winners that you think are going to keep winning in Q4. And that might be the Nvidias, Palantirs, and Hoods of the world, which is why those stocks are up. Nvidia, if we could get the 187 close, that would be incredible. We're not there yet, 186.59. Let's see if they can get there. But even closing above 185 to me would be a win because we've been stuck at this 183, 182 level basically for the past 3 months. So it would be very nice to see that happen. Now, again, when Trump talked about the government shutdown today, he pretty much talked about it in the same way that JD Vance did, which is that he thinks it is inevitable. He doesn't want it to happen, but he says it's probably likely. Again, over the past 3 shutdowns, the S&P 500 gained an average of 3.5%. The last time the market was actually negative during a shutdown was 1996. And you got CapEx tailwinds, lower oil prices, Q3 earnings, lower rates. All of these are macro tailwinds that a government shutdown doesn't necessarily change. And if a government shutdown were to cause the market to go down, given it's a self-inflicted wound, you could argue that that probably reverses, and that means the market could reverse as well. So it's not the biggest issue in the world to me. And if we really do get some juicy opportunities, that might be something to take advantage of. OpenAI, they announced Sora 2.0. This is going to be their new social video platform. And the video they put out today, we'll watch it after the close, is pretty epic. And, you know, whether you hate OpenAI or not, the video they put out on how they are generating AI imagery and videos, I mean, it's just remarkable. And I think it's bullish Google Nano Banana. I think it's bullish ChatGPT. I think it's bullish the entire ecosystem of the market, or at least users that are engaging with those platforms, starting to develop new versions of AI content, which is very bullish for market participants who are betting on none other than, you guessed it, Nvidia, because they're going to need a lot of compute capacity to be able to manage all those videos that are created at scale. Now, Sora 1.0 was kind of a flop. No one really cared that much about it. It really didn't do that well. It looks like Sora 2.0, they're trying to take a lot more seriously, and that could lead to some more momentum. Bitmine getting a little bit of action into the close. It was down pretty much the whole day. It was at 50 at the lowest, 50.6, now at 52.35. So that's up a little bit from that 50 level, still down about 1.67%. Robinhood giving back some of the gains. Let's see if we can get that 143 close, and then Nvidia at 186.50 is what we've got right now. Let me actually pull up that video. I'm not going to play the audio here, but everything in this video, by the way, new banks coming to the United States, Did not see that happening, but I guess Nubank is filing for a U.S. national bank charter. I don't know if the United States has a lot of banking competition. I don't know if we need another bank here, but that is one headline on Nubank. So this is the video from OpenAI, and everything in this video is generated by Sora 2.0, which is this Sam Altman right here looks like the real Sam Altman, right? But it's like it's an AI version of him. This is way more impressive than Sora 1.0 that came out a year and a half ago. And again, all of this comes back to the semiconductor names that are obviously going to benefit from all the compute that is needed to make this happen. So pretty awesome. Wow. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway nears a deal to buy Occidental Petroleum's petrochemicals unit for $10 billion. Oh my. We know that Buffett has a massive stake in Oxy, and he's been adding to that stake for a long time. How's that stock doing right here? Down 1.5%. Again, he would not be acquiring the entire company. It would be their petrochemicals unit for about $10 billion. Stock's been relatively flat for the whole year. Looks like Berkshire might be going after that again. He's been very heavily allocating to banks and oil and gas companies over the past 3 years, along with Apple. That's been his main tech play. So it seems like that's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting for Oxy. That one down about 1.5%. Jason will be on in about 25 minutes after Nike earnings, and we will officially have Technical Tuesday. And we'll get to all the technicals that we have to get through. But my goodness, what a day. Tesla now going green towards the end of the day. 444. That's actually a pretty big move. It was at 433 earlier in the day. So 444, not that bad for Tesla, up about 0.35%, up a little bit more from the lows. Grab, a little bit of a crappy day, down about 1.5%. Amazon as well, down 1%. We do have an update on some of the products Amazon put out. TLDR, just not that exciting, but we'll talk about them. And that's why I think the street's not that happy about them. Salesforce and Adobe, again, I really think this end of month rebalancing, end of quarter rebalancing is leading to some of the software stocks being sold off. There's no headline for Salesforce and Adobe to get hit, but they're getting hit both 2 to 3.5%. And that might just be rotations going in a different direction. AMD right there, 0.3%, 161.85 is what you've got at the end of this market close. All right, we got 1 minute. 1 minute, folks. 1 minute left, and we are ending out Q3 in the stock market for 2025. It has been an incredible 90 days. We thought we would get an August dip. Didn't really happen. We thought we would get a September dip. Didn't really happen. Maybe we get that October dip, but if you've held strong, if you've been able to add to some positions, been able to manage the portfolios, then this is one of those quarters that is likely done really well for a lot of people. We'll do a year-to-date update after this quarter ends, and then tomorrow we officially get ready for October 1st, and Q4 begins. And we're going to see if we can end out the year with the strong momentum that we've had pretty much throughout Q3. Now, remember, Q3 was the first quarter after the April stuff. So after April Liberation Day, and that was an emotional whirlwind, that is when we got into the world of Q3 as Q2 was ending. And so it had been quite remarkable to see that entire journey. All right, folks, here we go. September 30th, 4 p.m., Q3 officially comes to a close in the stock market, and the stock market is now closed. Was it a Temu mic again? No, it's fixed. It's fixed. All right, good. It's fixed. There we go. There we go. We're done, folks. 143 close. $143 close on Robinhood. You could have bought this stock at 100 and still been early to the party. And a lot of people got in around that 50, 60, 70 range. Obviously, if you got in before that, you were definitely very early. But you could have came in a couple of months ago after a massive run up from 7 to 70 and still been up 2x based on Robinhood's performance. 143 to close out Q3. Robinhood is now part of the S&P 500. And what an incredible journey. It's been up about 4.5% on the day. Palantir closes Q3 at 182. Again, Citron started shorting it a month ago at around this price. We've got a no update on their short, but nonetheless, 182 is what you got on Palantir. Tesla right there is up about 0.24%. Nvidia 186 closes at an all-time high or just below an all-time high at 187.35. And then the S&P closes at 665. Not too bad at all. This thing was at 661 earlier in the day, so it looks like it gets that end-of-month rally to end out the quarter. And I'll get the exact number updates on how the S&P, the NASDAQ, the IWM, et cetera, how they all performed to end out Q3, but so far, not too bad. Q's 599.90 to end it out, and then IWM right here, small caps 241. IWM, I think, having the best Q3 out of all the indices. Not doing too bad. Nike earnings is on deck. I think we get it in a couple minutes. I don't think it happens exactly at 4 p.m. At around 4:05, we should be getting Nike earnings. Let me see the poll. 54% of you say dump. 54% of you say it's going to go down. There's an 8% implied move. So we're going to see what ends up happening with Nike. Amit called Steve and asked him about Hood. Oh, I was on the phone with him today. And I was like, Steve, it was bad timing. He was like, I know. It was bad timing. He was like, it was just not good timing. I was like, Steve, I love you. It just wasn't good timing. He's like, yeah, you're right. But he's very appreciative of the people that subscribe to his YouTube channel. So his first stream will be on Saturday. Might have a guest appearance by myself and some other people. But yeah, he's very, very appreciative for everyone subscribing. Robin right there, 143.15. Grab ends out the quarter, still up 30%. Not too bad, just above 6. I'll take it. We got back to $6. Reddit right here, 229. That was down about 5% of the day. Amazon down 1.2%. Meta closing just above 730. That got to 780 at one point this quarter. Came all the way right back down to 735, but still not too bad given it's up. Still 25% for the year. MicroStrategy down about 1.4%. ASTS at 49.08. How about Rocket Lab? How did that end out? 47.85. CoreWeave, massive day. 136.70 on CoreWeave. Can someone link Steve's channel in the chat? If anyone can, I'm sure one of you guys has a channel. Can you just please link it in the chat so everyone can get it? I just don't have his channel pulled up, but someone will link it right there and you guys can subscribe. CoreWeave right there up 11.5%. And then NBIS, not a bad day either. 112 got to 117.60 and then came right back down, but still holding that 111. Again, CoreWeave announced a $14 billion deal with Meta, showing that demand for compute is outstripping supply. And as a result, the market, I think that along with the Nvidia upgrade to 250 is likely why the market got excited for Nvidia and said, hey, this is something we can't underestimate. And that's why you're continuing to get some of this momentum. So there you go. Peter, thank you for the $10 super chat. A while back, Hood was at 39. You said, I still don't think it's expensive. I put in 90K that day. Thank you. I borrowed your conviction. Incredible stuff. Again, I've said this over and over again, but like Hood is the follow-up to Palantir. When Palantir started running, I got a little too concerned about evaluation and if it's expensive or not. And you know, that stuff is not something you shouldn't be concerned about. It's just if it's really a generational company, if it really is one of those one-of-one unicorn companies, you don't use that as the only barometer. And with Palantir, I was a little bit nervous as my first stock that actually started to go up, so you get nervous about that stuff. With Hood, I didn't know if it would turn out the same, but 39, 49, 59, 60, it just felt like the growth was not stopping and that the execution was going to be there. And that's what you got on Robinhood. 143.40. So again, this is one of those journeys similar to Palantir. You could have come late to the party and still have a massive return, which is pretty incredible to see. Google right here ends out the quarter above 240. Given Google was at 150 to begin Q3, the fact that it's ending at 240, even if it's below 250, it'll get back there above 250. But the fact that it's closing in that 200 range is quite incredible. And then SoFi, look, crappy day on SoFi. I sold some puts on it at 24 bucks. If you did buy it at 25.70, you got a little bit at the bottom. I know it's a bit annoying. It's likely because of the Upstart delinquency report that came out yesterday around credit ratings, but hopefully that's not something endemic that's going to actually affect SoFi going into Q3. ELF right there, 132.48. That's up 1%. Apple's up a little bit on the day. Apple also closing out Q3 in a very strong way. And then SMCI also up 3%. Nike, we got a little bit of a move. It is 405, so we should be getting the numbers. Likely now. Let me see if we have the numbers. I don't have the numbers yet, but we should be getting it soon. Yes, we will have Technical Tuesday in about 20 minutes. We'll get through Nike first, and then we'll keep going from there. Thank you, Benny, for Steve's YouTube. There it is right there, linked. Anyone can click it there. Nike's call is at 5 p.m. The actual earnings are way before 5 p.m. I remember because we were swing trading it last time, so we did get the results earlier. Maybe it's at 4:15 though. The street wants 27 cents of EPS and 10.9 billion of revenue. They have a new CEO, Elliott Hill. This is the second quarter in a row. The comps are actually pretty decent. The comps are not that hard to beat. 4:15. Okay, cool. So we got 10 minutes. 4:15. So, I mean, it would not be surprising if they could actually beat on the comps. It's just a question of how well they can pull this off. So we're going to see in about 10 minutes what happens for Nike. Yeah, Steve has no. I was telling Steve about this, like, bro, you have no videos and people are still subscribing. And he was very humbled by it. He was very, very humbled and very grateful that people want to even take a chance on his channel. So super, super awesome to see him get that love. Tesla right here is up about 0.31%. Palantir 182.56, and then Hoodie 143.26. All right, so while we wait for Nike, let's get through a couple of other headlines that we've got going on, and then we'll keep going from there. This thing I think was also interesting. The day that Sora comes out with ChatGPT, you have Google adding visual results to its artificial intelligence-powered search experience called AI mode. The AI can now generate images or results in the form of images. I've not tried this yet, but it is exciting to see that Google is starting to incorporate more image-based answers inside of their search. And I think ChatGPT will try to take a way to get, or try to take an approach to that inside of their actual main app as well. Here's an update on the shut. I will be up at 12 a.m. today. So if you're following on Twitter, I'll probably tweet about what happens. We might know way earlier than 12 a.m. in terms of if we do have a government shutdown or not. Trump saying it's likely, but we are going to see in about 7 to 8 hours what ends up happening.
Hey, John. Well, yeah, look, the question in D.C. right now is no longer will there be a shutdown, but how long a shutdown is going to be. The Senate is expected to vote this afternoon to continue current funding to November 21st, but we're already hearing that that vote is expected to fall short of the 60 senators who will need to vote. Remember, 7 to 8 Democrats have to join Republicans. It doesn't seem like the numbers are there, and both sides have resorted to pointing fingers. Off. The Congressional Budget Office actually predicting that 750,000 federal workers will be furloughed, and contractors as well will face losses. And then, of course, Senator Chuck Schumer speaking from the Capitol, saying that that is all going to be on Trump's shoulders and on Republican shoulders, still asking Republicans to come to the table and make some sort of deal on those Affordable Care Act tax credits that are set to expire at the end of the year and raise insurance premiums for millions of Americans. Something Republicans say they are more than happy to do, but they need to have those discussions after they go ahead and have this discussion about a shutdown. And so
the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, saying that 750,000 workers could be furloughed if this shutdown does end up happening. By the way, Goolsbee, one of the Fed presidents today, said that he would really not like if we don't get jobs data on Friday, because obviously the Fed has to use that jobs data to figure out if they should lower interest rates or not. If what she's saying is correct, which is that the conversation in Washington is not if we get a shutdown, but or how long the shutdown exists, which means it's not a question of if, it's a question of, hey, how long is it going to last? Then we're not going to get that BLS data like we got today with Jolt's report, which actually wasn't too bad data, along with consumer confidence. We're not going to get that on Friday. And non-farm payrolls is actually very, very, very important. So it would be quite surprising if we don't get it, but nonetheless, if we get a shutdown, then maybe that's what ends up happening. Google right there, 243 after hours. PayPal is down 4% on the day. Why did PayPal was green in the morning. PayPal is, this is where you really got to test your conviction. Do you believe that PayPal is going to recover? And, you know, we've had Amir and Roy say they think it's a massive opportunity, and those are pretty smart guys. And I think they're right. It's obviously undervalued. It's just a question of, will the market recognize that? And you got to really take a bet right here if you think this one is undervalued. 6703, again, that one is down. Dell and SMCI, the server companies around the GPUs, did get a boost today. Dell up 6%, SMCI up 3%. Again, I think a lot of the companies that benefit today in the semiconductor space benefited from that CRWV announcement, Nvidia being one of them. But obviously the neo clouds and the companies supplying the GPUs to those neo clouds and the server racks to those neo clouds like a Dell or an SMCI benefit from that as well. And so I think if we don't get that CoreWeave deal in the morning, I don't know if Nvidia breaks all-time highs. I know it got a bullish upgrade today to 280 or 250 by KeyBank, but getting that AI infrastructure deal with Meta, $14 billion is no joke, and they already have a $30 billion deal with OpenAI. I mean, that just goes to show more and more of the hyperscalers, just like Microsoft with Nebius, need neo clouds to support their demand, because demand is stripping out supply and compute capacity continues to be strong. So it makes sense. Yeah, Vertiv, that's another company dealing in the data center space. Was Vista up today? Vertiv, wow, 4.5% up on the day. They deal with liquid cooling, if I'm not wrong. And then Vistra, that was actually down 1%. Okay, so Vertiv got a little bit of a bump today, along with some of those other semiconductor names. Nike, are we getting a move yet? We got 4 minutes. Nike, very small move from 68 to 70 or 69.30 to 70. So barely 30, 40 cents. 52% of you guys say dump. It's almost 50-50, but the majority of you think this thing dumps. I don't know. I kind of think the comps are easy. Second quarter in a row, new CEO. Maybe the tariffs are like an impact, but I don't think it would be that much of an impact. I don't know. We're going to see. We are going to see. I could see a move to 80. I could see a move back down to 60 in both directions, but we'll find out in the next 3 minutes. Palantir, again, as I mentioned, they went public September 30th, 2020. Here is how Karp answered a question around their path to profitability and their ability to go public towards the end of his first ever interview on CNBC.
So I think the real debate now has moved significantly away from, is this software, is this services? Because although people think we're very smart, we're not smart enough to get 80% margins off of a services company. The question then is, how do you comp it? And honestly, I think that's something investors will have to figure out. We're not focused on that. We're focused on, we are going to be the most important software company in the world. And people will figure out what that's valued over a long period of time. And we're very comfortable with investors toying around. It could be like this, it could be like that. We are going to deliver the world's best software with the world's most efficient way of delivering it. Investors will decide what's that is worth to them. And I think you'll find in a number of years that there will be a consensus. Palantir is a truly special software company that is arguably the most important software company in the world.
It's pretty incredible, dude. Talk about seeing the future right there. Palantir DPOing at $10 and the market not really understanding it at the time. It did get that initial pump with everything that was going on in COVID. But you had Karp right there saying, hey, eventually people will recognize we are one of the most important software companies in the world. The market capitalization has 18x'd since that happened. I mean, it's quite amazing. It really, really, really is quite amazing. It's been a hell of a journey. I had a bunch of people text me today, just, reflecting on kind of how this all played out. It's been 5 years. Like in 5 more years, it's going to be 10 years, like a decade of covering the company. So pretty incredible. Palantir right there, 182.37, up about 2% on the day. And then you got Hoodie just under 143. Nike should be out any minute. Here we go. We're going to see Nike. It's either going up or it's going down. It's either going up or it's going down. I mean, it could definitely be flat, but I think this time we're going to see a pretty big move. Okay, here we go. Numbers should be out. Let me see if I can get them. Let me know if anyone owns Nike. I think a decent chunk of you own Nike. I know it's a big retail favorite. So let me know in the chat if people own it, but we should get these numbers soon. Tess, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. Appreciate you, Tess. Thank you for being here. Tess has been an OG of Palantir, been on the journey for a very, very, very long time. So appreciate you being here, and thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. Up, we're green. We're green. We are green. 73.80. That's up how much? Nike after hours. We were up about 4%. Can it hold? That's the question. Can it hold? 71. Oh, wow. Oh, no. No, now we're red. Now we're red. No. No. Dude, now we're back green? I don't trust it. I don't trust the chat. I don't trust it. 72.70, or maybe that was a head fake as soon as it went down. But you had someone sell. Someone sold at 73. Was it 73.30? Someone sold. And whoever institution, retail, whoever sold algos, that caused it to go back down to 69.30. And now it's back to 71. 71.43. Yeah, watch it end up being flat. It's just going to toy with us up and down, and we're not actually going to get a real move. 72, that is up 3%. That is a move. 3.4. That's definitely not bad to see. 3.4%. 71.61. Who's selling, bro? Who in the chat saw that 73.30 and had your limit orders ready? I did not play this. I did not play this today at all. So I have no dog in this fight. Benny, did you sell, bro? Did Benny scalp it at 73? Sold right on the pump. Ben, what price did you get? Bro, if this guy got 73, it's his fault. Munavir said I made $78. Puneet said I sold at 72.50. Bro, none of you guys have conviction. All of you guys are freaking selling. Like, if you sell, the stock will go down. Did anyone ever tell you that? The whole goal is for the stock to go up. So why are people selling this?
Beat 49 cents. The estimate from analysts was 27 cents. Perhaps more importantly, Nike has returned to revenue growth, and this is a big surprise. They actually saw revenue growth of 1%. Revenues were $11.7 billion, and that was a lot better than the expectation of $10.9 billion. Remember, the company guided for mid-single-digit revenue declines, and that's what all the analysts were expecting. They were looking for signs of progress, and they got it in a much better way by actually seeing 1% revenue growth. Now, it's lumpy. It's not across the board. Where is the growth coming from? Looks like North America was better than expected. The home market up 4%. And again, that's better. It's where Nike has focused on this turnaround, and it is seeing results. Contrast that with Greater China, for instance, which is still declining the business 9%, 10% if you factor in the currency change there. So on the headline here, Elliott Hill, the CEO of Nike, who was brought in to turn around the company, long-time Nike employee there, has been there about a year now. He says, the quarter, we drove progress through our Win Now actions. That's been his turnaround strategy. In North America, specifically, he calls out wholesale and running. Those are three areas that he's focused on turning it around, and it looks like they're seeing results there. He said, while we're getting wins under our belt, we still have work ahead to get to all sports, geographies, and channels on a similar path as we manage a dynamic operating environment. So they're pointing to three areas of strength, which is what drove these better results, John, and that is wholesale. That's the important relationships with the Dick's Sporting Goods. And remember, adding new relationships like Amazon and Aritzia, which they have done. Wholesale growth looks like 7%. They still have work to do on the Nike Direct and digital side of things, which is declining. The other area of progress I mentioned was running. There have been some good releases there with the Peg Premium, the Vomero, which has done well. The Vomero Premium shoe is coming out soon. And so it looks like they are seeing results of that. I mean, still areas for improvement. I mentioned China. Converse is another one where results are down 27%. They just announced new leadership there. So I'll continue to dig into this. We're going to be listening on the call, John, for guidance. They've been in this new mode of giving guidance for quarterly and not a long-term guidance because of the turnaround. So we'll see if they continue to do that, and also if they update the billion-dollar hit they were expecting from tariffs now that we're starting to see some trade deals materialize.
Okay. Sarah Eisen, thank you. I'll pick it up from here.
Okay, so that's what we got with Nike. I mean, again, this is actually a pretty impressive earnings beat, 81% EPS beat, which is not something to scoff at by any sense of the imagination. So that is still pretty damn good. I guess the problem here is that it's not as impressive as the street wanted. Again, 81%, 49 cents versus 27 cents, beat by 7% on revenue, 11.7 versus 10.9. EPS is down 30% year over year. Revenue is up 1% year over year. Getting back to a little bit of growth, not as much growth as probably the street really wanted to see, which is likely why the stock is not moving aggressively. Well, it's moving 4.5%. It's not like it's horrible. It's just not a massive move. The implied move was 8%. So it is still under that implied move. I see a lot of you guys saying you sold around 73 or 72.50. So, I mean, you guys are part of the reason why it's not moving, but there you go. 72.70, that's up about 5%. Yeah, ADB sold at 69.44, bought at 70. Okay, I don't know if you meant to say sold and bought in that order, but that would be funny if that's how it happened. But if you meant the opposite, then you made about $4 on that trade. 72.50, there you go. That's what you got on Nike. That's what you got on Nike. I believe that is the only earnings for today. So that's pretty much all we've got for earnings. I don't think there's anything else. Nike right there, 72.10. And now the call is going to be very important to kind of see what ends up happening. But as of now, that's what you got. In terms of the Q3 performance for the stock market, don't have the exact numbers yet, but this is how we ended on the day. S&P 500 up 0.5%, NASDAQ up 0.3%, Dow Jones actually up 0.18%. Intel, which used to be in the Dow Jones, has been a pretty strong outperforming Q3. That got replaced with Nvidia. Nvidia had a decent Q3. And then IWM, that's up about 0.10% on the day. So we're going to see in a little bit what the actual numbers form out to, especially after hours once we get that market close at 8 p.m. But it looks like we had a pretty green month for the broader market. S&P, let me see if I can do some just quick math on it and see exactly what the results are. By the way, Robinhood's still pushing after hours. It's just under 143, but holding on to that level. September 1st, the stock market around the S&P was at 6,415. So if we do a little bit of math right here, yeah, 3.9%, 4%, 4% on the S&P. That's what you got, folks. Don't think anyone can be too upset about that. And hopefully that just finds a way to continue going into the rest of the quarter. So there you go. Okay, Trump is live. I don't know what Trump is talking about. It's apparently some new executive orders. Again, we had that medical stuff that came out today. So I will get you guys the updates on those executive orders. He's talking about pediatric cancer, signs executive order on childhood cancer research. Okay, so that's what the executive order is happening for on Trump. I'll get the exact specifics on that throughout the show, but that is what the executive order is for today. All right, there you go, folks. That is what we've got. I don't think we have any other crazy other headlines that happened throughout the day. Again, we talked about CoreWeave, talked about NBIS, talked about HOOD, massive close to Q3. New bank applying for a bank charter, OpenAI revealing SORA 2, definitely bullish for Nvidia. And then obviously the Nvidia upgrade this morning, that was very, very strong for Nvidia. Nike earnings after the bell, not too bad. Nike right there, up about 5% after hours. All right, it is Tuesday. And because it is Tuesday, we are going to analyze some technicals on these charts. For those that do not care about technicals at all, you can probably come back tomorrow. You don't have to watch the next couple hours. But for those that do care or just want to get a better understanding of how some of the charts work and how it understands or how it intersects with the fundamentals of some of these stocks, we're going to go through over the next 2 hours as many tickers as we can, try to get through some of the main tickers, and then we'll take some audience requests. Nike's dumping now? What? Is it actually dumping? Is it actually dumping? Oh boy. It's not red yet, but it's like 5 cents away from going red. 69.73. It's up 30 cents after hours. If it loses those 30 cents, it's going to take a dump. Well, for those that sold at 73, congrats. For those that sold at 72.73, made a little bit of money. All right. Technical Tuesday. Again, if you don't care about technicals, you can come back tomorrow. If you do care, we're going to get through all the technicals that we can with the person who I think understands TA the best in the stock market. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to roll the intro. What's up?
We made it. Happy Tuesday.
You know, it's funny because the actual Steve doesn't like HOOD, but the Asian Steve is a big fan of HOOD. So
Really?
I'm a bigger fan of the Asian Steve today.
He's not a, what do we call the Hoodites? The Hoodanistas?
Hoodlums.
My bad.
Steve's not a hoodlum.
Not a hoodlum. Dang. Wow.
Unfortunately, not a hoodlum, but we are here. We're live. We'll talk about HOOD. We got a lot to talk about in the context of HOOD. But for those that don't know Jason, I'm putting his Twitter right here in the chat. He has been an OG HOOD member, buying this thing at $8. And
he
has been averaging up along the way and contributing to a lot of the revenue with the prediction markets, which we'll talk about as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. So let's pull up the charts. We got a lot of the core tickers that we'll start with, guys, and then we'll get into the audience requests. The Nvidias, Pounters, Tesla, HOODs of the world. We'll get into all that, and then we'll keep going. I think for you, Jason, let's start off with the S&P. We ended out Q3. Curious about kind of your thoughts on Q3, your thoughts on non-farm payrolls, which we might not get based on this government shutdown, and overall what are the technicals signaling to you about the broader market?
Well, so I think we closed the day like ultra neutral. We closed the week fairly neutral, but slightly bullish. And in terms of the month, I mean, we'll have to see. For me, the month doesn't really start until we get those non-farm payroll numbers. I'm not really. Look, the government shutdown, I mean, that's always a thing. It happened, you know, are we going to get a shutdown? I don't know. Every year it's like, hey, we're going to shut down. We're going to shut down. We're at least going to get ADP on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. And we'll have something to somewhat run with. I don't think we're actually going to get shut down. And even if we do, it's like going to be for a couple hours and maybe we get a day or two delay, but we're going to get the numbers one way or the other. We're going to get the numbers. And that's what the market's really going to start to digest off of. Once we get those numbers, I think that's when it's going to be game time. And I don't think that once we get those non-farm payroll numbers, until then, I think everything is clearly the market's in a holding pattern. I say clearly, but the market hasn't really gone anywhere this week. So we locked the highs on my screen. I tried to make this a little bit cleaner, but here I'll just make this like a blue line. That's the prior week high. This is the prior week low. So prior week as in last Monday, September 22nd. And then this happens to be Thursday's low. But this box is where we've been trapped essentially for the last really 2 weeks. And we haven't actually gone anywhere. So we've made no new highs, made no real new lows. And we're in this holding pattern right now until we get this next iteration of non-farm payroll numbers. Now, when we get that, that's when the market's going to be able to kind of like come out of this box or some kind of catalyst thereof. And I think that's going to be pretty important. In the meantime, you know, the broader trend is up. This is, when we get those numbers, it's very important. So on my screen, I just put some white lines on, and this is what happened. So last September, this was right here. This is what happens when we get these non-farm payroll numbers. It ends up being a bit of a choppy session sometimes, but eventually you break out of that day's range and the market digests the data. And that's when the trend finally begins. And we really, you know, we've hit all targets from that session and we've exceeded, for the most part, all targets. I mean, near perfectly. And so my upside targets from that maximum velocity is exactly right here. It's 665. So that's a full box and a half, really.
Did the close we got today to end out Q3, does that kind of set up a technical bullish move in October, in your opinion? Or
it's about holding a certain level. So we've essentially gotten to the targets from that last move, and we've held, but we're not extending. So we're in a rest period. Can we pull back? Yes, we can, but the market's resting and waiting. The market's saying, all right, well, give me the next reason to move. And until the market has that next reason to move, it's kind of going to go sideways. And if it has to wait too long, well, somebody's going to get exhausted of holding the market up for a while. And it could pull back to essentially where it came from, which would really be that 652 level right here, or it can extend one more time, but we'll have to measure where that extension comes from, which would probably be 668 in my, just off this setup right here would be around 668, give or take. But that's a guesstimate. I really need those numbers to really have a cleaner view. But 652 for now remains as the baseline kind of support of where we broke out from last time. And that is right here, 652. And that's September 5th, Friday, September 5th, non-farm payroll numbers right here. So that is actually the key breakout, 652 from last September 5th. And this is the low. So the way this works is that the moment the market receives that data, it's about 30 minutes before the open. And this is every month, about like 80% of the time, it's a little bit more, but more often than not, I'll just say that moment in time actually marks the high or the low for the entire month. So for October, when we get that non-farm payroll data, and it's very simple. Again, this is what makes my stuff a little bit different, and it's very unique to me. So if you've never heard of this before, you won't hear it anywhere else, but call it smoke and mirrors, whatever. I will show you how this works. But the majority of the time, it actually marks the high or the low for that month. So this is September. This is the moment that the market received the data. Literally that second, here's the high, here's the low. It ends up being the low for the entire month of September. There it is. I can show you here. This is the month before, right there. This is August. And so right here in August, this is the moment right here that the market received the data. Again, it actually marks the absolute to the penny low that for the entire month of August.
What if we don't get the data? The government shutdown.
It's still the moment that the market receives the data. Here's a moment where it's not exactly the low, but it's pretty dang close, right? So here's the high and the low of that day. It's really close. You get wicked out, but again, you can kind of see, hey, here's the battle zone that the market kind of chops in. It defines the trend though for the entire month. This is July. And there's a system that goes with this that we teach. But never did you actually get like a full day completely trading below this this low. There's not a single day in this trend count that's entirely below that low. It always got bought right back up. It might have opened below and wicked down, but it always got bought back up until you finally have what we're looking for, and that's a full day's open and close trading above, and you got 1, 2, 3, and then you look at this. This is to the penny, ping, perfect, exact precision right off that high. There's your trend. You're off and running, and then you actually get. This is another non-farm payroll day. So this is how important that number and that data point is, and in fact, it does define the entire trend for the month. So it is crucial to Amit's point that we get that data. And if you know how to use it, you can use it to define a prevailing trend in the market. So good thing is I'll be around, so I'll show you guys how it works moving forward. But that is why it's going to be important to get it.
All right. So trend intact for the S&P, and hopefully that can be based on that.
And again, as long as we're over 652, trend very much intact.
Okay, let's do hoodie. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one.
I mean, she's going higher. There's so many days where I'm like, all right. I just think that there's a fundamental catalyst that was kind of overlooked from the analyst community, for sure. I say for sure, but in my opinion, and that's the event contracts being kind of validated as a legitimate business. And I don't know if we talked about it last week or not. My estimates are pretty high, but I think that where I sit as someone who runs an active trading community with a very active sports betting group inside that community, I'm probably uniquely suited to have an opinion here. And that is that this is a big business, and it's probably close to $1 billion annualized business at the end of the day. And I don't think that was in anybody's model. And when Vlad posted what he posted, I think that was like an awakening moment. There's a lot of factors here, but just on the NFL trends alone, industry-wise, for sports betting, we should see another 3x ramp based on regular market trends as it is, not factoring Robinhood's week over week compound effect, which, by the way, is pretty intense. So that's kind of like snowballing here. And I think everybody's tripping over themselves trying to catch up to digest what's actually happening. We'd measure this technical move here from a monthly perspective. 141 is where, so the first stop was 130s. 141 is kind of a midway point here. I think that the ultimate idea was into the 150s, mid 150s, ultimately landing somewhere around 155 as a potential earnings place to land. I wasn't expecting, had Vlad not posted what he posted, and I don't know that we thought that he was going to post that. I was thinking maybe we could bounce around there and land somewhere around 155 post earnings, but here we are. He kind of opened the kimono a little bit. And again, I think a lot of the analyst community kind of tripping over themselves, trying to catch up and wrap their head around this event contract business, not to mention everything else that's happening with Robinhood and how fast they're executing and trying to figure out, wow, where should we even begin putting this company? So it's on its way.
Why do you think higher? Is just the trend or like?
No, I think people are having a hard time valuing, wrapping their mind around how big of a business Robinhood can be. B, will the event contracts be 2-day, and not any of that. I don't think any of the event contract business was baked into the price as it stood today. And I still don't think that people really understand how big of a deal that is, because most of the analysts that look at Robinhood as a company are looking at it as a fintech company. And that's true. But when you bring in a different aspect, different businesses, the people that are looking at this are looking at it from a different set of goggles, if you will. And when they finally take the time to look at different trends and pull in these different businesses, they're like, oh crap, this is actually a totally different thing, a different animal that could have multiple compound effects in very short order. And then they try to factor those models in. You're like, well, it's they didn't have a penny of profit baked into the price for the event contracts before Vlad had posted what he posted just a couple days ago. That plus the S&P 500 flows coming in at the same time, I think compounded on each other in the last 3 or 4 days, whatever it was.
Okay, so you're bullish. I'm pretty bullish, and it looks like the trend continues to be intact.
Yeah, I don't think, because I'm literally talking about $1 billion annualized business of event contracts.
Yeah.
To the bottom line, profit. That was not in anybody's bingo card.
You're right. It wasn't
10 days ago.
No, you're right.
What does that do to the PE of a company? That's massive, right? From a valuation perspective. So that's a multiplier effect that alone to me would have brought this company to 150. And I think they're just catching up with that, plus the S&P 500 inclusion. I think those two things we're getting there pretty quickly.
Also, to your point, the stock went from 24 to basically 140 in 15 months. That's plus 480%. The earnings multiple is actually down 45%. It went from 164 to 92.
Yeah, and I think that all he did was post a milestone of a $4 billion volume thing. I posted. Is it okay if I share?
Yeah, good.
So I posted something, and I just what I just really honestly don't think that people are understanding when it comes to what's happening with this Robinhood deal is that, so I don't know if you could put it in chat. I can't post links in the chat, but this is the NFL typical volume trends of just regular NFL and CFL and college football betting. regular industry trends, normal stuff, not including Robinhood's compound effect, which by the way is like 50% week over week increase. We are September 30th. We are here on the trend. This increases like 20% week over, like 10 plus percent week over week, every week from here moving forward until we get to the divisionals. And then we get to playoffs. At playoffs, it's going to 2 to 3x. And then we get, it gets exponential up until Super Bowl February. This is a normal industry ramp. This is the Robinhood opportunity. In the next 3 to 4 months, we are here. And what Vlad posted 2 days ago was a $4 billion metric on how many event contracts they've done to date. Like, we are here. And so what the analyst community is trying to catch up with, I think, is this typical total wagers industry-wide ramp between CFL, college football, and NFL average wager ramp. As we get deeper into the season, the wagers this is how the wagers ramp on average, not including what Robinhood is doing on top of that as they expand their offerings into spreads. Look, I run a community. I'll just say that very few, Robinhood gets maybe 20% of what they actually could. The second that they opened up overs and unders and spread bets, it's a whole nother game. They probably doubled their addressable market in event contracts just based on flipping that one switch, just on that alone. Again, as an active user, I can't speak for this for sure because I don't know the contract. But as an active user, I'm very suspicious that they could even be taking a piece of the spread, like bid-ask spread. I don't know. I'm not even factoring that, but it's possible because that's part of their business model. I don't think it's in the contract, so I'm not gonna factor that. But if they are, oh baby, that's a lot of money.
So would you buy Hood at 143, or you're just sitting back and letting it happen?
I mean, I'm very torn because I think we all have and not to go too long on a diatribe here, but I think most of us own Robinhood. There have been many moments, and I say this to my private group all the time, and when I'm on other streams. Over the last 12 months, I mean 9 months, there have been times like I've oversized my Robinhood position to the point where I get a little like ahead of my skis and they have a pullback and I get scared and I panic sell and then I panic buy. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, there have been so many moments since then that I look back and I'm like, I'm not even sure why I own many other stocks. Like there are so many days in the markets where I'm like, it's just the best stock that I can own right now. And I think within the community, we understand that, and I call him Vladdy, like Daddy Vlad. I just call him Vladdy. Like that Vladdy's on a mission to 1 trillion. And you know, he's gonna make it happen. You know, he's going to die trying, taking this company to $1 trillion, or he's going to die trying. And I see it in the execution. I see it in even from the early days when they had a lot of growing pains. Look, that's his personality. And I like that. It's risky because he's like that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you invest in founders, you invest in the vision, you invest in people. And that's the company, that's the culture. I'm going to back that. And whether or not that's today, tomorrow, next month, next year, I don't really care anymore because $1 trillion, that makes us $1,000 in 10 years, whatever. It's me investing in the company at this point, whether it's 140 or 240 or 540, you know, in a few years, I think that's where I'm at, right? Or $40. That's where I'm at now. It doesn't really matter. I'm in for the journey.
No, I would agree. I have the exact same feelings, and although I'm not buying here, I'm also.
But what I will say is that when we did break this, we did have this trade on, and I did open some net new positions at this level for these little piece part moves, and I will continue to chip away at these moves. So right now I can see, based on these sessions, technical Tuesday, that we were heading towards 150. So between 100 and 150, I think this was a digestible chunk to trade. And I think this is the point of these sessions, these Tuesdays, is that when we identify a breakout here and a decent retest, that a move coming like this was identified as a possible trade. And so, yeah.
So you would be buying more here for a trade to 150. You think there is?
Well, I did buy, and in our private group, this is what we are active traders. I did buy here, and we do this thing called trading. And so this trade was activated as a net new position to take this move into 150. So this is live. This is already up. I don't even know today. But this is it's just a small piece. It's I don't know, it's probably up like 150%, 130%. But for a move, this was January 150 calls. Anyways, that's trading. So, but that's the point of this, is like, know when to, when can you add into a position. Here now, most of the move has happened, so it's a bit higher risk pressing this bet. I think if this pulls back 130, somewhere in this area here, 130 to as close to below 130. If I saw that and I saw it go a little bit sideways, like a little bit like this, so somewhere in here, I would say that might be an interesting spot right here.
All right.
Because that would still be on the same trajectory.
Okay, there you go. Nvidia, all-time highs on that one. What are we thinking there?
Did you not get an upgrade today too, right?
Yeah, 250 by KeyBank.
Guys, I'm going to start a timer. I forgot. I was going to do are you doing this too? All right, Nvidia. I'm going to try and keep myself on check.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep it to 5 minutes per ticker so we can get through most of these.
So that was the most important one. So congrats, by the way. So Nvidia, I think, so holistically, we have massive deals going down in the AI world. And I mean massive deals going down across the board. You talk about seeing Elon and Satya being all buddy about Grok 4 going down on Azure. Zuck doing, what was the deal today with CoreWeave, $14-something billion. I'll just tell you that these companies in the AI space, there is across the board, there is a non-zero probability that these companies report their best earnings ever. I'm just going to say that, right? There is a non-zero probability that across the board, these companies report their best earnings ever. And I think that's why you're getting some of these upgrades, things like that. Now, 250, I don't know. But what I can say is that this move, we know that we're in a consolidation. We've been in a consolidation for the last month. Today is the first little look above that consolidation. Little peekaboo. I see you. This is interesting. And that breakout level is 184.60. Now, we want to be a good bull, and we need some kind of confirmation. So that confirmation comes in two factors. One, we can get a retest, 184.60, and a bounce. So that's what that looks like. If you see a little pullback tomorrow or moving forward, as close to, it's right here, this little green, 184.39, holding that level, that's a beautiful retest. That's a pullback confirmation. Your next stop, 195s, right? Any follow through from there could take you to 200, and then a big extension could be to 210. I do not have 250 on my bingo card here. It just, any way I slice it, I don't have it, right? At most, I have 225. 250 is not on my card. You know, if this is a fake out, that's very possible. This could still be a good pickup somewhere around as close to 180 as possible. It's actually not game over, even if this isn't the breakout. Remember, you can get that look above and fail. Doesn't mean it's game over. Doesn't mean it's a short. Even if you pull back here and land somewhere as close to 180, just under 180, somewhere around this 178 area, that's actually not bad either. So either you get a quick pullback and a strong hold over 184 for a solid breakout retest trade, or it does a little peekaboo, look above and fail, but hold somewhere around that 180 level. Then even in this case, you still will end up getting to break. You might even have a little consolidation up here. Eventually, you do want that breakout, and eventually you do want that hold over that same 184 level. This is going to be your validation. Any way you slice it, you want to see that break hold over 184 to get you that validation or confirmation that you're breaking out over this prior consolidation. So that's Nvidia. Pretty good, constructive. And if this does pull back with any like real conviction, you just don't want to see it losing that halfway point, which is about 175. That's just going to invalidate the whole thing.
We'll get into some of the main one guys like Tesla, Rocket Lab, SoFi, but I think this one deserves a little.
This is pretty main.
No, but the next one I was about to say deserves some priority because everyone's wondering about it. Amazon's flat. I bought in. I think you said last week, wait, maybe 210 is the level. So how are you thinking of the chart going into Q4?
So Amazon. I don't like Amazon. I don't like Amazon today. This actually hasn't changed since I did it last time, mostly because. So I want to stay catalyst driven. I think you're close. I just don't think it's ready. I think you're close to the lows, but.
I agree with you. I think they need an earnings catalyst to actually.
You need a catalyst, right?
Whatever colors they announced today was not the catalyst.
Unfortunately not. So Amazon, I like the 210 level as a very interesting spot. I think we need to pull this back a little bit. And the bigger concern is a bit of this like double top of death. I think Jeffrey's out of the way, as I understand it. Mr. Bezos, he came in and he just really just smashed us. And then they have the legal issues. So it's not really like in the clear because it's got just stuff overhanging right now. And I think it's the overhang that's really holding them back. In terms of the courts. For now, the real technical issues are this monthly candle here. So this monthly block, and I'll make it kind of white, which is what we were looking at last week. And it's these things right here. So I'll just make them a little bit bigger. So these levels, 225, 228. As if it was holding over that 228, 230 area, that's right in here. That would have been better for me to say, okay, well, over this area, then look, that's where, similar to the Palantir type moves, that's where the bears, any bears that had sold up in this area, this is your bear zone. Any bears that were getting short over here, these guys are going to cover. But what the shorts look like, the shorts positions look like this. So they're making money right now. This is what their position looks like, literally. And so I know that they're winning, and I know that really over 225, they're very much in under 225, they're very much in control. And so that kind of gives me a bit of a pause right now. And so I think last week I said, hey, look, I would wait for it to either be back over 225, and that's where I would be more comfortable. I'm going to say that one more time. I would be much more comfortable over 225, or I would be a little bit more comfortable closer to 210. And that actually comes from this area right over here. And I have a little bit more confluence because I have a prior investor base that was developed from this area in May. So two things. So in May, we have a prior breakout, and I'm just going to use a fixed range profile here. This actually comes down a little bit lower. So I didn't have this prep, so it's going to take me a little bit longer to set this up. But that's around 210. I think this area 213, and the top of that right over here. So I think that is close to 210. I don't have to be exact, but yeah, somewhere in this general area. I think you could get one more downside move. I really hope it doesn't go to 200. I mean, if I saw 200, it's probably a pickup, and I'll probably buy some. But Amazon, yeah, I think you're fine long term. It depends on your time horizon. I'm happy here. I just don't. I think you might have. To me, it's more like a shopping list item. You know, it's something that I'm not in a rush to go out and buy, but it's probably not a bad pickup either. I think it's possibly a better discount. It's just got to get out of their own way right now. We could look at other things too, like similar. Meta is having a hard time. A lot of these mega caps that are doing a lot of CapEx are like they're spending money. They're having a little bit of a hard time, but close, almost there. I want to wait because this little trend, not quite done yet. And that trend is this guy. So I'd wait for this downtrend. This is the current downtrend that it's in. So once this trend breaks, really, then you'll know. I can text you or
yes, text. I'll let everybody know when you text me. Real quick, guys, before we continue, LAC is up 11%. It looks like there is legit going to be an equity stake from Trump in this company. Not officially confirmed, but you have a couple more sources reporting that it's true. This one's already made a pretty big move, but it looks like maybe that 740 level it got to last week based on this rumor could be happening. And that's why that is on green. Yeah, U.S. Energy Secretary, the U.S. government will have an exit strategy for its stake. Okay, so the U.S. Energy Secretary is kind of confirming. It seems like, I'll get the exact statement, that they want to take an equity stake. And that's why that's up 10.8%. Real quick question, Jason, before the next stock. Siege, thanks for the super chat. Check the volume on Nvidia today, breaking out to new highs on above recent average daily volume. Is that a piece of logic for why it could go higher, breaking out to new highs above the recent average daily volume?
Here's that to cap off Amazon. Like it would have to kind of look like this. It actually could go a little bit lower, but so I think he's talking about volume in terms of 30-day volume. Yeah. So average 30-day volume. So 236. So net. I mean, it's 200. This is typical whenever you get an upgrade like this. What you don't usually when people reference volume like this is that when you get you'll see I don't actually have volume on my charts. One thing when it comes to volume, people use volume to spot fake breakouts, meaning that when there's low volume and you have something like this, if you don't have it validated with a lot of volume, and if I show volume on my charts here, even the type of volume that I use is slightly different than normal. See, this is a big volume right here. That's large buyers coming in, and you can see that big green candle coming in. It's good volume. It's not massive volume. I think what you want to see moving forward is actually kind of trending volume, and I'll make it a little bit brighter. So on volume, what I'll use is kind of like this. Now I've turned this shaded yellow. You actually use this is kind of like an SMA on volume. So you can see the weighting of volume. And as long as the average volume is actually trending higher, so like I can see, sorry, we're off in the weeds a bit, but if I can see that the type of volume is trending higher, which in fact it actually starting to on Nvidia, that's good. That's actually what you do want to see, because it started to dip a little bit here. And if I can start to see the trend of Nvidia's volume continue higher, that's going to validate exactly that. And so that's what you do want to use volume for, and how you'll validate a breakout like this. It's one way to validate that, and one way to not get faked out on certain things like that. Whereas, here you didn't quite break out, but that's why you want to be kind of subtle. Over here, you have volume, but it's low. And then the volume that happens, volume's increasing, but what kind of volume is this? This is actually selling volume. The sellers are increasing here. So you know that you're going actually pretty down, like further. And even here, it's coming, but it doesn't, what happens is that the volume, it doesn't continue. You want to see that volume continue to go higher, which in fact you do not. It kind of stabilizes. So moving forward from here, what we want to see is you want to see that volume continue, not just one day, but you want to see it continue to go higher.
Okay, sounds good. Tesla, we got deliveries on Thursday. I think that.
I thought it was tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? No, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
It's Thursday morning. I thought it was Wednesday.
Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think it's Thursday at 9 a.m. roundabout. We should get it. Is it Thursday, guys?
Steve, if you ever look back at HT above 414, oh yeah, HT looks great. He's Asian, Steve. Not it's specifically. Oh man, next week it's going to be not white, Steve.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. Okay, cool.
Okay. What time Thursday?
Usually it's around 9:15-ish.
All right. Reset timestamp, right?
Yeah.
I hope that we're trying to keep the flow. So Tesla is high and tight, maybe. So just to clock this, make sure that we're all in alignment. Tesla is to 600 as stated in all prior rounds. That is accurate, right, Amit? You're with that?
That is accurate. Yep. Okay,
cool. And that is in multi-months. It's a multi-month move. We might even be looking at 690 because, Elon likes the 69 numbers. But we've made a very good move, and we can afford some kind of a pullback. We're here, right in this, what we call low volume pocket of the prior highs, and we're stuck. Baby, this is called stuck. And we're stuck in what's called the fair value gap. So cautiously optimistic is, it's actually more cautious than optimistic here. Very much so. At this point, I'm short January calls, long March calls, which are doing great, but I can still see a breakout. If we break out, here's where we are. I think that it's really into this bigger block. But that first move is it's gonna bring us straight to that high, which is into that 490 area. We're just gonna have to call this a break of structure, so I don't have anything.
Jason was kidding about 690s. That was a joke, I think.
No.
Was that a joke or was that, are you?
No, that's real.
That's real. Okay.
He's going to make it happen, dude. Either he's going to buy new shares. He's going to buy shares. He's going to make it happen. It's Elon. He's going to do some weird stuff like that.
But by end of year?
No, I didn't say end of year. Okay. Next year. It's like mid next year.
I think next year all bets are off the table. End of year, okay, but end of year, where do you see it? Do you think like 600 end of year or 500-ish end of year is your target?
Okay, well, 600 was I have March calls.
Okay.
So it would be all right. So I'm actually already at my primary targets. 550s. 550s would be max, like 525. And that, so it would be like this. If we do get some kind of break and breach, you could be like 525. You might even get a crazy stretch there, but I think you do have to have some kind of breather, right? Some kind of breather like this, because it's not going to be a single stretch. No, it's not. But a legitimate move could be into the 525s here. And that's actually from this major consolidation here for the next kind of block. Oops. Which takes us up there. So, but again, that actually doesn't really come into effect until Tesla can breach 465. So between now and then, we're toying with this, as long as we're holding over 432 with this block into 465. So it's this red box that it gets chopped. This is the chop zone. And then once it can crack through that 465, then there's a big push from 465 to 530, give or take. However, how long is that? So that's about 12%, $60 press. That would be a squeeze zone right through here. So that's actually a pretty big squeeze zone for the next big violent move. I say violent, it's a high velocity type move right in there. But Tesla's building momentum right now.
So this is an accumulation phase in the 440s, 430s.
To me, it's we call reaccumulation phase.
Okay. All right, that's fair. SoFi.
Do we need to spend more time on Tesla, or did I?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Trend's intact, 550 target.
Trend's very much intact. SoFi, the trend is actually lost. So it was lost, but for a day. One day does not make a trend. So tomorrow is an important day for SoFi. SoFi's trend is set at, let's get you there. So I'm going to use it's called COCH. So change of character that's what COCH stands for. COCH stands for change of character. Hopefully you guys can see that. You might not be able to see that. Here, 32. Character is the trend. BOS is break of structure. These are trading terms. So it's a big break of structure. Character is trend. And the character is over 2620. That's the trend character. And that is this channel. So SoFi has been sitting in a channel, and the channel's been getting tighter and tighter and tighter. This is the very bottom of that channel right here. Here's your channel. And it just lost the very itty bitty bottom of the channel. So tomorrow it's possible that maybe something changes. What's kind of weird to me is that it's very rare to close the month on like an absolute lows. So, well, I guess it's not the absolute lows. So, because where's the first of the month? First of the month is what over here. So your monthly candle, I think, ends up being neutral.
Right.
Yeah. So pretty neutral. So it's not horrible when I look at this from a monthly perspective, because the monthly candle, sorry, let me take these draws. So the monthly candle ends up looking like a very big top wick, which you may or may not be able to see, but the bottom of the candle, body of the candle ends neutral. So meaning that it's the month of November ends out of an uptrend. It ends as a neutral, which is not bearish. It's just not super bullish anymore. So moving forward, what this means for SOFI, it's pretty clean here. So moving forward, what you need to see out of SOFI is that for October, as long as it's trending over, very clean, 26.61 in the month of October. As long as SOFI is holding $26.61, it's back on the up and up. It is all good. Until then, what you want to do is you basically take the month before, which is the month of August, and you look at this and you say, all right, well, where does my dip buy zone kind of come into? And that is right about around $24, but 23.60 to it's a dollar range between 24.60 and 23.60, which is the low end of this month. And that would be 50% of August. So, I know it looks, we got a lot of lines here, but that's because I just went to a really large time frame. I'll drop this down to a weekly and show you what that looks like. So this is the month of August here. I know we're in September. We're closing out September, but we just basically dipped into August. And what that again means is if we can get over, if we're trending in the month of October over 26.60, it's all good. And in that instance, what that will look like is it'll look like SOFI reclaiming that trend. It'll be very, oops. Sorry, let me speed up here. What that'll look like over 26.60 is that it'll look like SOFI will have in fact reclaimed that channel. So that's why 26.60 is very important. SOFI, if it's over that in October, will have reclaimed that trend. My where I would put this first stop right back to that 30 level. If it can get back in, then I would say your channel takes you into, believe it or not, 35s. And until then, you know, the dips to buy would be between that 24.50 and 23.50. But even if you catch that, you still have to understand that you're going to go into probably a consolidation period for likely the entire month of October. And selling puts and things like that will probably be the best bet for the month. Because you'll just you had a big run, so you're probably going to be in for a bigger rest.
Yeah, I agree. I sold some puts today as well. I think.
Did you nail that price?
What was the exact price on your strike?
Between 24.50 and 23.50.
I picked 24. So yeah.
Oh, you nailed that price then. Yeah. Good job.
I did it through vibes though. I didn't do it through TA. I was like, 24. That's
dude, you know, the vibes are rubbing off on you, dude. I'm just saying, the TA vibes, you're catching them.
All right. Next one is let's do Rocket Lab. What are you thinking here?
So Rocket Lab is similar. So again, stuck in August range. So this is the month of August. We can just see no lines here. So again, closing out the month. I actually are you guys okay with doing the monthly check? We're closing out the month, so not a bad idea to take a look at the monthly charts. We could have gone and done this probably earlier, but it's when you're looking at your charts, boom, take a look at August. If you're not trending over August for both September and October, it's not going to be a good one to trade. It's literally that simple.
Wait, to say that again, if you're not above the close of the previous 2 months, that's bad.
The high.
Oh, the high. Okay. The
high. So here's August, right? The high of August is $50.92. So it's quite literally this simple. You're going to be looking for October's candle to literally look like this. Boom. And if it's not that, I mean, then it's not that, and it's not ready. But that's what it's going to have to look like. And it's you know, it's simple. Maybe not easy, but look, when it comes to fruition, it really is. You look at this, and if you did that over here, it was that easy. And then boom, 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 boom. It is this easy. Not to oversimplify, but it really is. So the number here is $50, and what did I say it was? Let's just call it $50.90 for like even money. But for now, what's happened is that the month of September, we've essentially kind of retraced August, and that halfway point is a bullish hold. So it is a neutral month of September, and the halfway point of August has held the support. So this is a bullish hold for September. Moving forward, what we want to see in October is we want to see $51, give or take, breach, and we want to see that start to trend. And this kind of rounding out within that time frame is honestly perfect, like for that to happen. What we do not want to see is, you don't want to see this low that we spent the last month and a half like creating become you just don't want to see that fail, right? So again, this investor base has like been created. That will probably fall out if it gets below, I don't know, whatever that is, 41, and then it'll go to 37s. But it's very simply stated here, over 51. It's moonshot for the lava rockets, and you're going to go to 60s. That's 59.40. What's the rocket called? I don't know what the rocket's called.
I don't know either.
Damn it. We need Matt. We're taking a ride on whatever the rocket's called.
Eventually Neutron. We'll take a ride.
Neutron. We're taking a ride on Neutron. And we would see, you know, just under 60 first stop. If we really catch it like a major lift off, then mid 60s, you'd have to see something pretty epic or some kind of fundamental catalyst to get higher than that. But that would be the typical trajectory for the month of October, as it sits today, just under 64 maximum velocity. But this is actually pretty constructive, not breaking out again. I guess you could look at the volume just to get some kind of, oh yeah. So like, again, doing that thing, the volume that we just is increasing. So that's good. But yeah, that's
okay.
It's generally okay. It's a bullish hold, but again, we need to see more to get that upside. Otherwise, it's possible that it just could continue to go sideways and build. We don't have a breakout yet.
Palantir. Today is the 5th anniversary of them also going public.
Really? Oh, really? So
when's the first time you bought a share of Palantir? Do you remember? For me, it was March of 21. No. For me, it was no. Yeah, it was March of 21. It was around $27. I remember the first time. Were you in that 2021 run up to 45, or like did you come in around like the $7-8 range?
Oh no, yeah, it was definitely somewhere in here. It was definitely somewhere in here.
Yeah,
somewhere in here for sure.
That was basically.
And then I remember getting chopped around.
Yep.
And then I remember getting like, what is happening? And then all the memes.
Dude, that ski slope down is when the community started forming, but it was like painful because everyone was bag holding so heavy.
I bought the
this one got back to where Citron started shorting at 182. So I guess how are you thinking of price action here? And to your credit, you know, you said if we break 173, we are probably going back to all-time highs, and we are very close to those levels.
It's actually holding. So, you know, I don't think Citron's going to be having a good time. If I was the risk manager for whoever shorted that, I don't know. I'd be having a conversation, but they're not actually losing quite yet. They're at their, if they have a good story, they're probably okay. If they're really good, their stop is literally, actually, they're probably not going to have a stop until up here. So they probably won't cover unless it's at like 200, quite frankly. So I would probably not, like, they might just be noise. They would probably have some kind of, if they're shorting Citron, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but they probably have a target somewhere in like the, I don't know, 65s or something like that, which means that they have a very high risk tolerance also. That'd be my guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know who's on the desk.
Trend continues to be intact for this one as well, given its hold.
For sure, trend is intact. And I'll tell you what, so like even just right here in the last couple of weeks, this is a bullish hold of this like couple, what is this, 12-day consolidation. Again, I don't know. I don't understand what the thesis is over there, but whatever. I don't, 180. And even over here, I would be a little concerned shorting this because this bad boy looks like it's about to take another leg to the upside right here, right now, literally. So I think it's about to do that like this. I think it's about to take another shot. And I think, is there a catalyst coming?
No, just earnings. That's in 2 months, so it's going to take some time.
2 months?
Like mid-November, likely.
Okay, so here's the hold. So it's 179. So I think the bullish hold is here. Again, as long as you're over this little order block between 180 and 179, this is just a reaccumulation, again, of the existing move that was happening. So up, down, reaccumulation. Here, chop sideways, accumulating. You're coming back up. To me, this is reading as all the same move. And so if this whole move does progress in that manner, yes, this is one of that piece, but I don't know if you're ready for it. But the entire move could make this entire thing a consolidation and land you somewhere over that 200 point.
Okay.
Not to be crazy, but that's where that, if this does break out, then you are going to be talking about this entire thing as a consolidation. You're ways away from talking about that. But again, if this happens for validation, you're going to need to see the break, retest, hold like that. And then it's going to be some kind of succession like that. Stocks don't go in a straight line. So this is what that not straight line looks like. All right.
Okay. Google didn't get the 250 Q3 close, but still feels pretty bullish.
Also, we mapped this out as well last week. And so we mapped it out exactly this, so that if it didn't hold literally 250, then you're going to be looking at a 240 pullback. So if you go back to last week's timestamps, you'll see this actually laid out. And 240 ends up being exactly where we held. And so right now, 240 is important because when we pull this back, and I'll pull this back to a weekly. So this is very much like what we're talking about. So when we talk about a big consolidation point, and when we're looking at measuring breakouts, so you get this situation, breakout and extension, you have to have each piece hold. And so if one little level doesn't hold, then you pull back to the next, and that's trading. And so you lose this, you go here. If it holds here, that is a bullish hold, and that's in fact what we have done. but we need to get, this has to get back over at minimum 245. And then this green bar that it lost is now overhead resistance. So in the interim, what happens that it gets stuck into a holding pattern, which is now this box right here. And so this green is now, let's call it red, because this is now your, what we're going to call overhead supply. This is resistance, and this is now support. So depending on how strong the support is, which quite frankly, it's not super strong, you just want to make sure that that holds the support. If this support fails, it's possible that that fails. What I did here, oops, sorry. What I'm doing here is that I'm going to take the monthly candle, which is actually, this is the month of September. So this is September 1st through here. Another pullback. If this cannot hold 240, then the next pullback range is into 229. And that's going to put you at the next level of support. Because if you lose that support, well, yeah, I'll just tell you that's not super strong support. The next level of support is down here. So hopefully this support holds. If it doesn't, this is the next level. There is a 235 blip on the radar. It's really not strong. But 220 is 228 is a much stronger level for now. And if for whatever reason it can actually get over, then that is on and cracking. And in that case, you could extend to 265 for your next move through. But none of this is in the cards until you're back over 250s. But if you are in back over 250s, cool. For the month of October, that's your pivot, 250.
Okay. By the way, Lithium America is now 780. So if you
was there something happening?
Yeah, it looks like confirmed equity stake for the United States. If you took a bite at it at 630 when it was up 10%, it is rewarding you. It looks like it wants to break $8 right here. But again, no official details on what percentage of equity, how it's going to be distributed, if the United States gets a voting board on the or a voting seat on the board of directors. But nonetheless, that stock is up almost 40%. CoreWeave, big deal today. Thoughts on this one?
Well, the stock isn't making a big deal.
What did it end? Did it end 15% up? CoreWeave?
It ended where it was the other day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could have a big intraday move, but the stock is struggling here at 140, which is it's kind of a chop zone. So there was a big breakdown earlier, and we have what we call, again, one of those kind of fair value areas. I don't remember what happened this day. August. Oh, that's earnings.
That was earnings.
So,
yeah. And also the insider lockup period ended that day.
On the earnings?
Well, it was like 3 days out. The earnings was like on a Thursday. It ended on a Friday or a Monday morning. And it fell from 130 to 90, and then insiders got to sell around that 90 to 95 range.
Okay. Well, I think it's trying to create a base. And the interesting part is that here, what I can do is from here, this is swing, what we call swing high, definitely swing low. It's on a pretty critical path. So if it can hold, in fact, like this is 135, happens to be a pretty key pivot. 135, which is right here. We'll just call it this price of interest. 136 and change. I think it's toying with that. Well, I don't think you can see it right there. 1, 2. So 3 shots. Let's say anything here if this pulls back and holds really this order block in here, I speak order blocks, so around 130. If on this pullback it holds somewhere around 130, I think CoreWeave is a pretty volatile stock in its own right. That's going to be stronger. You can't. You got to have patience on this one. It's a pretty high beta mover. This move has breached in terms of 1, 2, 3. So any next attempt, I think, is probably going to go, and that would take you into the 150s at least. And then if it can hold, it still has that earnings blip to deal with, and an even bigger block and topping area to get through. And then if it does get through, then you're talking, and then you're really cooking with gas, because at that point, I think you can see another few attempts. So 1, maybe 2. And then if somehow, some way this thing does, like, okay, cool, you get through it and you actually crack this wall, which I'll just say is not a small wall. But if this massive sell wall, which might be an internal wall of sellers, I don't know. I don't look at the order book like that. But I can just see it on the charts that there's a wall there. You look at this stuff a lot, Amit.
Yeah.
It looks to me it's around 155. But if that wall of sellers is exhausted, okay, then it's then this thing is starting to cook with some gas, and then you'd see like 180s, then you hit another little wall, but it could get pretty wild from there, because again, low float, newer stock, it has components of a high beta squeezer. That would be, looks like I have like 250s, but a lot of things have to go the right way. And that's like 2026 scenario.
Well, the $14 billion deal today was a good step in the right direction, but to your point, I mean, this stock has been at these levels many times before. So it's kind of just racing to get back there.
Was only 66 billion. So I guess that's not, that would put it at 120 billion, 125 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not really out of the realm of possibilities.
Agreed. BMNR.
Ooh, let's see. Definite bullish hold. I like that. We were on. So did we talk last week? Did you get the 48s? Just under. So definitely last week we talked about, in the last couple of weeks, as close to 50 as you can, identifying this little area right here. I'm sure that some people that watched this segment saw this. You got like what I would say is like a beautiful little double bottom. I actually picked a little up. And today's pullback, I wasn't really watching, but I get, there it is. Yep. So that is another perfect. Oh, look at that. That's a thing of beauty. So that is another perfect. So we can see right here where after it bounces off what we're going to call, I'm just going to call this a double bottom off of a double bottom. So we got to, what do you call it? What do you want to name this? This is the new emit pattern. So we're going to call this the double bottom.
Bro.
This is the new emit pattern. The double.
You saying I'm a bottom, bro? Like that?
Well, I mean, are you a top? I don't know.
I mean, I'm trying to reach the top of success in life.
Sorry. Okay. So, we're looking very small resistance area here, I draw this straight across, actually acts slightly as support one day again, not a big deal, but one day here, I have some confluence in terms that so when I pull this measurement tool, this pullback is actually exactly 50% of this move from here to here. That hold is an exact 50% pullback, which aligns with that prior resistance and pivot. And it aligns with the 20-day simple moving average, which is right there. So I think for all intents and purposes, this is what we would call a bullish hold. So it's constructive. Again, not a breakout. Longer term, so that's short term. Longer term, the story hasn't changed here. This is medium term. That was the setup coming into this. The whole thing here is just kind of, generally speaking, a bigger base. So I have a high, big high, but this whole thing is also still in my kind of consolidation range. So I need to know that net, this is in consolidation. So I don't want to get overly hyped about this. And where I'm going with this is that, okay, this is a good hold. This doesn't mean we're going to break out. And so if this holds well, okay, cool. Now, BMNR is a funky situation. We have what's called a session gap, and we talked about gaps a little bit. I'm going to be quick here. I'm trying to get through this. The session gap holds at $61 and 3 cents right here from Friday, September 19th. That's going to be an important point. If we get there and stop and do not extend, then I think you just understand that is the top of consolidation here. That would indeed mark a lower high. And it's possible that you come back down and mark a higher low, and we continue to consolidate for a bit before actually making a real move. So patience, I think, is still in order on this one.
I also, are you seeing this on Twitter? But as much as I love this stock and this ticker and Tom Lee, I think people are becoming a bit unrealistic with their expectations on it. Like, people are calling for $1,000 BMNR end of year. And I'm like,
what?
No, seriously, bro. I was reading this shit, 500, 1,000. And like, if for that to happen, Ethereum has to move. And I don't think people are recognizing that. Even $100, $150 that people are trying to be more conservative at, Ethereum has to make a pretty big move. And yeah, I think it can, but what if it doesn't?
Look at my timeline here. This is the end of October. Look, it's always been the eating season. That's not even Amit's birthday, guys. That's still pretty good.
That's amazing. That's great performance. Yeah. At 67 by end of October would be phenomenal for this stock.
Yeah. And for my option trader brothers and sisters, we want this because this option volatility is just chillax, guys. I want this thing to burn off because she ain't ready yet. Come down, relax, take a breather, because it's coming.
Yeah, and if the trend is up on ETH, then you kind of want BMNR to not be like overly exposed to an MNAV in these early stages. Like, you want it to consolidate and then get ready for liftoff when ETH is ready. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. And I mean, look, I'm not saying it can't get to 100 by end of year. It's just, it's going to need to take some time to consolidate and marinate before it makes.
Yeah, don't. This is like, you go to Thanksgiving. This is like Amit's mom when she was teaching him how to make the turkey. It's like when you're a kid, you want to stick the turkey in the oven before you preheat the oven. It doesn't work that way. You got to preheat the oven before you stick the turkey in. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
By the way, Asian Steve, do you want to know who's watching us right now?
No.
On an 85-inch TV. White Steve is watching.
White Steve
is watching us.
Let's go.
Dude, I didn't know he was into technicals. I guess he is. So Shout out to Mr. White.
Hey, the chat rebought Nike.
Dude, where is it? Is it 72? Okay, it's making a move.
The call has started, I think. Well, I think the call starts at 5, right? Start at 5.
Oh yeah, so we're 40 minutes in. So yeah, it should be happening by now. Okay, so let's do a couple more of the main ones, and then we'll get into audience requests. Nebius, thoughts on this one?
We talked about it last week. I think as we go through this list, and I'll just restart my timer. As we go through this list, I think that the moral of the story is to read the market. You know, we started off this as I started this saying that if there is a non-zero probability that a lot of these companies are going to report their best quarters ever, specifically in the data center space. And I seriously mean that. And as you go across the market and you think, okay, we're talking about CoreWeave, we're talking about Nvidia, some of these that are CapEx heavy, sure. We're going to hit some tickers here as we get a little deeper into them that are just like, they're going to me, be like no-brainer layups. Nebius is almost one of them that, well, I think one of them, and it's going to be your timeline, right? Like your time horizon, like how long are are you expecting BMNR to be $1,000 by the end of the month? I think that's a little ludicrous. So to be realistic with your expectations, I think is important. But we talked about this last week. First of all, this is one deal. I think there's probably more to come. But this trajectory, I'll just say, look, they are still going to do cap raises as we go along the way. I think the market understands that there's more to come. And so, yeah, we can lean on some technicals. The technical break is at 108. We got a little bit of a breach here. We got a little bit of pullback. This is actually pretty bullish pullback. And today, this is why technicals matter. You have a full-blown pop right off of what? Right here. 10, whatever that 109 change. Yeah. And you have your validation, right? And so as long as, again, if you're holding that, this was your dip buy, any of this, and you're validating. This is actually very much what you want to see out of NVIDIA. So if you want to see that kind of scenario and you want to see your kind of validation, that's what it looks like. I don't even have like a lot of volume showing up on Nebius, but this is why I'm not really using, volume. Okay, today, $20 million on an average 30-day volume, 18. So today, there you go. You got more volume. More volume coming in, that's good. So I think that validates, and I think that as we come into October, you'll start to see this continue on. But next stop should be in the mid 120s. But again, stocks don't go straight lines. So you can expect some kind of chop and then consolidations, right? And then possibly like that. Headlines will come. They might do some cap raises on you, and they might pull back a little bit. But again, depending on the time horizon, look, it's at the end of the day, what's the market cap here? 28 billion.
29. Yeah, about 27, 28. Yep.
Yeah. Probably opportunity still. Probably. Next.
AMD.
This one, no change from last time. Last time I said that I think my comments was like, it's very that the AMD investors were, what did I say? Cheap, and that they wanted a discount, and that it was clear to me that their discounts they wanted were in the 150s, as close to 150 as they could get, and they were unwilling to buy over 162, and that is still true today. Actually, I was talking to him, I was like, look at this thing. This thing has gone nowhere. And I mean, literally nowhere for 30 days. I mean, kind of appropriate because it's just funny how this works, because AMD products are cheaper. So, and like people that buy lots of AMD, they want better prices. Yeah. And apparently so do AMD investors, because they want better prices, and they're just unwilling to pay up for the stock, I guess. So, so there you have it. And that's what's going on right now. So I don't know that the appetite's really there. This is not one where, so like the the graphics card space specifically is a zero-sum game, meaning that it's either going to be AMD or Nvidia. It's not going to be necessarily both per se. So it's a hard bet to place when we're talking about just AI spend overall. So I think that is one factor that might be keeping this one back a bit, because it's like a near guarantee for Nvidia. It's not necessarily a near guarantee for AMD, especially at, I think this value, I don't really know valuation here, but or PEs, whatever. But it's not going down. And I don't think that it's discouraging a whole lot of people, but it's also not a big enough discount to really entice a lot of buyers. Not like it was down here. I think up here, the market is saying, hey, look, we're pretty fully valued and I'm happy where it is. I don't need to sell it. I don't need to run out of the store and go, I don't need to run out and go buy it either. Something's going to come. It needs a catalyst is what the chart's telling me. And after a massive run that it's had, I think this is just going to go sideways for a bit. Until something changes, if nothing changes, then nothing's going to change on this chart. So we need a catalyst. Otherwise, this chart, my guess, is going to continue to stay at 160.
Okay. I think that is fair. Real quick, before we get to the next ticker, I just found this out based on Cactus Jack's comment and then this post. University of Phoenix is going public. I do not like this at all. $1.2 billion valuation. Phoenix Education Partners is the parent company. I mean, two things. Number one, this feels very, very rooted towards exit liquidity. Number two is college is deflating as an entire concept. I mean, like, to make money in college as a business, you got to be an elite college. These like pseudo colleges that are online classes and stuff, like that stuff's being commoditized by AI every day. So some call it the Harvard of online schools. That is weird, bro. That I actually do not want that go public.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
I'm gonna avoid that. I don't know if it pops during IPO, but that is kind of weird to see that one going public. Okay, cool. Let's get into the audience requests. Again, thank you everybody for being here. Before we continue, Jason on Twitter, please make sure to follow him. I'm linking his Twitter and YouTube. He also has a private Discord group that you can join. It's a bit more advanced. There is a monthly subscription to that, but you likely will be joining one of the best trading communities on the planet. And so you can definitely check him out. His link is right there on his Twitter.
Did we get through them?
Yeah, we got through most of the core, and we'll get through some of the audience requests now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's his Twitter right there in the chat. All right, IREN, let's start off with that, and then we'll keep going from there.
Is that the request?
Yep.
Okay.
This one is up 500% in the past 5 months. So, I mean, everyone I talk to fundamentally says it's still cheap, but momentum is very strong. So I guess I'm thinking about this one.
Yeah. So I think they had some upgrades. Look, it's following technicals beautifully. And I mean, rarely have I seen charts follow technicals that well. I was just kind of like playing the last few weeks where I was like, okay, well, it's going to come back to here, then it's going back to there. And it literally to the penny. So I think it has had a bit of a stretch. So we, right now we actually got a gap. So I think there was some kind of upgrade recently. This is the first gap that I believe we've seen, like a hard gap. Yeah, everything else has been pretty smooth. So I think the fact that we got a hard gap, if it can hold over 46, then I think that the trend can be back intact, which it tried, which puts this back into 57s here. Otherwise this goes into a holding pattern for the first time in a very long time. So we'll have to see, but right now, because of that session gap, all of a sudden we have an overhead supply, which we haven't had that in a minute. So for now, you're actually stuck. You got two of them. Let me do two of these. 1, 2. You're okay. You got to hold 44 and a half. You're okay, just barely okay. So it's on the mend, but a trade from a trading perspective at this point, it can do this. That's your trajectory here. And then at that point, you would, wow.
So you have 57s. You think it is going?
Yeah, you'd still come back and then do. Well, it's just so crazy the way that this thing has actually done this.
Yeah. By the way, guys, for everyone wondering the ASTS move, it looks like this is the reason. Bluebird 6 completing final assembly and testing. I don't know that much about it because I'm not that deep into this one, but it's up 4% after hours for ASTS.
ASTS. Okay.
Yeah.
So it would have to do something like this in order to keep the current trend intact. So unfortunately, you got some gaps going on now. And I don't remember. It's holding a bullish hold. It's very overheated. So it's gone into some holding patterns before. But if it does break through, again, you'll know it. It's 49 and a half. This is a pretty heavy psychological $50 mark. So, but that's where it's, if it's going to continue to trend, literally that's what it's looking like.
Okay.
But yeah, you have to keep stepping this up. So this is one where if one day it does turn around, it's probably going to be one of those like stop hunts where it's just going to be real hot, real heavy to the downside because everybody's just, this has moved so clean technically to the upside that they're probably just moving their stops up every time. And that everyone's probably just going to stop and it's just going to whoosh all at once.
Rivian.
Rivi. So it's all EV sales stuff is coming out at the same time. And I think a lot of them started to pull back a little bit. There's all this chatter about the, pull forward. I still stay in the course. I'm not changing nothing. I'm in this. I actually like the pullback. 1485s, give or take, is like my typical level. We're still here. Here's my. I moved charts. Sorry. Here. So we're well over that broken down trend. And this is good. That's a good hold. So from this little last lower wick to that last one is going to line me up. It's sitting right on the 20-day simple. And right now, right over this last double top, I can pull this back. I have a decent kind of defensive line. Defensive line, it's not like football, but like defensive shelf right here, volume shelf, that this is retesting. So to me, I can read this as a breakout retest. Of course, I will say we're going to have a fundamental kind of event kind of in the form of deliveries coming soon. So TBD and good luck. But I'm not wavering here at all.
Okay. Oracle. What do you think about this one?
I
think this is healthy that it's fallen from 350, to be honest. maybe the chart it gets messed up, but fundamentally, I did not think this deserved to be a 900 billion based off of a potential contract with OpenAI, right?
Well, healthy, I guess, could be relative. So I'm taking this from the breakout level, not the actual like low of the earnings. So if I take this from the breakout, which is 242, then this puts me at literally the low right there, 278. I guess that's what's going to put me a little funky spot. So if I do it at the actual low, so I don't know which one to do here. That's the only thing that's got me a little bit torn. So I guess I can make this real simple, actually. So if we lose 278, you definitely go to 267. I think that's going to be crystal clear from a trading perspective. You say healthy. I think that if that happens, then basically this was unhealthy. So I guess that's a different conversation. And definitely if you lose 265s, then you're really saying that all of this is unhealthy, and you're probably going to do lots of damage here on this chart. Because at that point you're not looking at a retracement, you're looking at a retest, but in that event you're looking at a deep retest and probably a sideways price action for I don't know the rest of the year.
I agree. I think that fundamentally would make more sense until they actually recognize that RPO into revenue. So
yeah.
AppLovin, big move, got to 750 at one point. What are you thinking about this one?
Whoa. I don't know. I mean,
we both missed, right? You weren't in this.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to ask you. Is this like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? Are we missing the boat? Like, is there? What?
I'm not buying it at these prices. That's for sure.
Yeah, but like, I mean, what's happening? Like, this is low float stock. This is definitely a low float stock. There's not a lot of coverage, is there?
The CEO did his first interview in a couple of years yesterday. So no, there's not a lot of coverage.
$240 billion market cap. What's Hoodie?
120, I think.
I mean, so it's literally double. Is that sus? I don't know. It's double the market cap of Hoodie.
They are likely, I mean, I think they're going a little faster, but potentially their growth is a little bit less cyclical than Hood.
Well, Hood's growth, by the way, now with this September, like with NFL, dude, that makes them significantly less cyclical as a company. Like significantly less cyclical, which another check, ring the bell. You need a Hood bell. Somebody on the next meetup, I don't know, a Hood bell would be cool. But anyways,
it would be way more revenue than Hood. They do $1 billion a quarter. Hood's around the same. I don't know if it's way more. Maybe I'm wrong.
Listen, did you drink any of the Hood liquor?
No, dude. I was gonna open this. I was gonna open this at $25 a share to celebrate my first options win, and I chose not to. And now I'm like, bro, I don't think I'm ever opening this ever. Like, it's a collector's item. How could I open this? On the first gold event. How could I open this, dude?
Have they done any more?
If we were above 25 at the end of 2024, I was gonna open this and drink it live, like the whole thing. Like I was.
What even is that? Is that like that looks like sherry or something? Like
it's whiskey, right, guys? Bourbon or some shit.
That watch. It's like water with food dye in it. It's another grape juice.
I'll drink the whole thing, bro. We go to $1 trillion. I'll drink the whole damn thing. But no, in general. So AppLovin, I mean, do you think the trend is intact for?
Okay, so it's holding 703. That's a key hold, right? So from this measured move here to 721, that actually, again, similar to Hood, where like the trend is intact. It's actually a very bullish hold at 703. This is similar to Hood's whatever it was, 135s. 721 is important. It's there. The next move would be, looks like I have it.
Okay, AppLovin definitely does more revenue than Hood. Yeah, 4.7 versus 3 for Hoodie. So it's almost 2 billion more. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
It's to 750s, but it's gotta hold 721.5. So if it can hold 721.5, my God, this thing moves really, like the daily range on this thing is probably some obscene amount. I don't even want to look. Oh my goodness. Dude.
Keeps going.
No, it's like a $62 average daily range. That's $31 average daily range. That's crazy. Well, it is what it is. So it moves $30 in a day on average. That's a lot of dollars in a day. That's a mover. So 721, if it's over that, then you got a shot to 755s. And that's where it should take its next rest. Otherwise, if it's losing 695, then it's coming back down. And it's coming back down to actually like 650. So again, $30 average range, average move in a day. They're big chunks that this guy takes.
Okay. Grab.
What is with the chat? All gaps get filled. They do not.
It's a philosophy a lot of people believe in. I know you're different here. I think a lot of people that learn TA learn it from that perspective, but
it's just factually wrong. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Can I prove it?
No, you proved it many times on this channel. If you want to again, but you showed us.
No, I mean, it's all good. Grab. What are we doing here, boys and girls? What are we doing here? So weekly, wow, what a week for Grab. So it's not normal to close like a week and or a month on like an absolute high or an absolute low. So this one ends up having a great week, but closes the week absolutely neutral, which is, I guess, okay. Absolute neutral is 590s. And, when we look back on this for the weekly and monthly charts, the biggest, where was it? I'd have to go back to the month. The biggest deal was, I believe, over here and here, 590s. So I'm going to zoom back in to the week, and I'll take this, but we don't need that 200 week off. Yeah, I think I got it. All right. So way back, was this just a different company, by the way? For my context, do you know? Like if it's a different company, then I probably shouldn't be using it, but like if it was not the same actual company, like if it was doing like pizza delivery, I really shouldn't.
It was the same company. They IPO'd in the SPAC bubble, so I wouldn't say it's a different company, but they were egregiously overvalued during that time. Like they went public at 60 billion, bro. Like that's why when people say bubble in 2025, I'm like, bro, 2021 was different.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't use exactly those time frames.
Well, it kind of matters. So I'm going to use this as our change your character. So this is that pivot. It's 603. This orange number right here is the absolute like kind of tippy top. And then in this box was that prior consolidation, 2022, basically most of early Q1, Q2 2022. And that is about $5 to just under $6. That's where that massive consolidation was. So in order to stay above that consolidation range, that's what we want to see Grab do is hover over that 602. So I'm just drawing that box, and below 517, that's like no fun zone. That's when you really lose trend. So I'm just dragging this box over, getting over. And so we can see, hey, look, that box was massive overhead resistance. We completely break through, and here we are today. We're still firmly over that 591. And so that's good, right? That's the big breakout, the big deal. 603 was that absolute tip of that consolidation. And here's the breach right in here of what we were just looking at. Remember, 591 is the the upper end of that consolidation. And we're just, the wicks, the top of that range wicks are at 591. So that's what we're kind of tapping into right now. And we've already tapped into it just slightly at 590. So as long as we can hold this white box right here, that's all good. And that entire, and anything here, which Grab was moving so fast in this entire move, I was like, is it even going to pull back? We don't know. And this whole thing can be what I would say is a bullish pullback. That said, even if it comes down and dips into that, into this like consolidation zone, I do have this line at 570s. That would be a full-blown 50% retrace from the absolute highs. Let me take this arrow off. From the absolute highs to this beginnings swing low to swing high. A 50% retracement would be a 575 if it cannot hold over this general $6 area. I don't want to be too specific because it's such a low dollar stock. It might wick in and out. So I think you want to use this at a daily closing price. Intraday, it's going to move around pretty. You might blink and it might do something crazy. But generally speaking, I think if it's not over 604, in this area, it's possible that this pulls back. You just, again, still want to be cautious of that look above and fail. And if it does pull back, anything in this area would be a bullish hold. And that here is what an October kind of swoon into a October like bounce would actually look like.
Okay. Not too bad. I mean, I've been buying even at this $6 range, so I do think they can consolidate here. Guys, let's give Jason a little bit of a break, about 3-4 minutes, get an update on this Lithium America situation, and then we'll be back. We'll keep going.
Breaking news on the U.S. taking a stake in another company. Eamon Javers has got the details. Eamon.
Melissa, U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright was on Bloomberg News just a short time ago, and he said that the United States is going to take a 5% stake in Lithium Americas. Now, remember, there was reporting last week that the company was in negotiations to give up a 10% stake. And what Wright said today is that actually it's going to be that 5% stake in the company itself and then a 5% stake in this underlying lithium mine that the company is renegotiating its loans over. Now, that mine is a joint venture with General Motors and Lithium Americas, so they will be shouldering the burden of that equity in the mine itself. So this is another deal where the U.S. government is going to, in exchange for, in this case, government loans, is going to take an equity stake in an American company. And Melissa, the word I get around here and talking to folks is we should be expecting more of these deals are in the works. Not clear which companies in particular might be at the negotiating table for this kind of a deal. But what the president has been asserting here is that if companies need loan guarantees, if they need regulatory approvals or other U.S. government action, they should be prepared to give up a revenue stream or give up an equity stake in order to make those deals happen, Melissa. Back over to you.
Eamon, this is really a confirmation of a report that we got last week, correct?
That's right. Yeah. The reporting last week was that they were in negotiations
Right.
for a 10% stake. This is a 5% stake in the company, and then also a 5% stake in the mine, according to the energy secretary on Bloomberg a short time ago. We'll reach out to Lithium Americas and see what they have to say about it as well.
All right, keep us posted. Eamon Javers in Washington, thank you. We were talking about this.
So again, that stock making a pretty aggressive move after hours. I see a couple of you in the chat kind of sniped it. Even after it was up 10% at 630, 640, now it's 760, got all the way up to 790. Didn't break $8 yet. But tomorrow morning, we're going to see if that one can end up breaking it, which would be exciting. ASTS, again, we talked about one of the headlines after hours. That's helping with them 12% on the day. So it looks like that Bluebird 6 confirmation is what's really giving this one some love. And that one is also continuing to go green. ALB, is that a lithium company? I'm not sure about this one. It looks like they engage in a lot of development and manufacturing of a bunch of different chemicals. Not sure if it's targeted just towards lithium, but LAC for sure is getting... Oh, it got to 803? Oh, I didn't even see that. Well, there you go. 803. And that one is holding on. There's a lithium ETF, right? What's the ticker on that? LIT. It's batteries as well, not just lithium.
I think that one's mostly Tesla.
Really? LIT?
Yeah.
That.
Whoa.
I don't know. LIT. Top holdings in this thing are, yeah, Tesla's up there, 5%.
I'm old school, man. I know these things.
That's pretty cool. All right, let's get back to some of the TA. SMCI.
But also not a bad looking chart.
Oh, on the LIT? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we will do Materials Corporation. We'll do MP, and we'll do some of the rare earth ones. But SMCI, what do you think about that?
SMCI. Well, this was my pick. So not been a lover of SMCI, like mostly, but I think I started out the session, and I'll just go back. Read the market. Non-zero chance that a lot of these companies are going to report their best quarters in terms of like AI spend. CoreWeave gets, I don't know, 14 billion. Azure, but listen, all these data center builds, they build on Dell, they build on SMCI. This is probably the easiest layup in the market, in my opinion, straight up. And again, you guys know I'm not the biggest SMCI bull, but
you're not. So this is a little surprising for me to hear from you, to be honest.
This is a layup and a half. Like huge base. As an options trader, again, I know I'm supposed to stay in my box, but this is a leap setup. Extremely low volatility. I think that you definitely see 60s again. Those purchase orders we know are going out right now. SMCI has been through the ringer. It's more or less de-risked because of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you got some updates of, hey, we're going to have to change our forecasts soon, because they're all getting those orders like now. So I would just say, look, we're coming into a pretty heavy point of inflection on the chart. I'm just going to call this a price of interest. That this is gearing up for a big time move. And if you want to say all gaps get filled, well, here's a gap for you right there. That's a big one. I'm not going to say this gap gets filled tomorrow. Not. But you're there. This is an earnings gap, whatever. I think that you're going on 1, 2, 3 attempts. Any pullbacks here, I think, are very likely going to get bought, because if you're not on it, it's obvious what's happening in the market. This is the one that hasn't actually come out of the muck for whatever reason. Again, this is just my opinion, not financial advice, but it's just, we know that they're getting orders. It's just whether or not the people are like, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy them. Maybe they have trust issues still. I should still have trust issues, but it's undeniable what's happening. So anyways, that said, nice little base right here. This is a pretty good setup, technically speaking, for a pretty basic move to start heading into this gap halfway, at least 53. I don't know that it fills right away, right? But any way you slice this, let's say it gets this way and stalls. Maybe they throw a what do you call it, like an offer on you halfway, and it pulls back. That's fine. I think, again, this is one that you could expect some kind of run up into earnings early November. Just the basic market anticipation of once they realize, oh, this is happening. And then if somehow you actually crack this level, which is about 60 on this fourth attempt, you could have some kind of extended run into the high 80s. And I think that's actually what people were legitimately looking for on the first attempt. But again, I think it takes a little bit longer to make some of these larger moves. This is one where, as a trader, you can get burned once or twice, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to sign off from something. So I'll just put this in real world terms. I would say, here's what you're looking at. Something like this with possibly a legitimate pullback right in here. To here. So
did you get calls on this already or no?
Yeah. Well, I started, but I don't think that, I think there's going to be twofold trades, right? So I think one first move is this move. I think it gets stuffed, right, on this attempt and then spends a little time going sideways. And I think later you have a second move going here. So the way, what do you want me to lay that out? I can.
No, I mean, this is enough context for this one. We can move on.
Yeah, I think depending on your style, I think my first shot is January 60s. And then I'll take those profits probably and roll into something like March or later's into like 80s maybe. Or if you're feeling like extra special or fancy, you could do some kind of calendars. Again, depending on your level of how advanced you are, or you could do some kind of poor man's cover call, being long here and short here, something like that. But I think you make this first move. I think there's two moves to be had. The first one is that anticipation of that may or may not get stuffed, and then a little rest period, and then another big move, which, look, this could be played just on equity alone is probably good. So it doesn't, have to be options person to, this is a good trade anyway you slice it, because I think you read the market, right? Like this is probably the most undervalued, underappreciated, rightfully so, AI stock that I could find in the market.
Got it. All right. LYFT.
But LEAPs technically it would be like 2028, 2027. But they're all cheap. LYFT is here. LYFT is good. It's 25. That was kind of like really big move into a pretty heavy price pretty heavy spot right here. That Wednesday, early November. I think that move was hot. Like if this holds somewhere around 20, I think this is fine. Look, this one, I don't know that you want to be active trader. So, cause it moves so much intraday sometimes. As long as it's holding like 20s, this trend is very much intact. And otherwise, if you see it in the like low 19s, it might be worth a look at taking a stab at it. That's LYFT. Okay. Even in low 19s, the trend is actually still intact.
Okay. MicroStrategy.
What happened here? 280. That's interesting.
I think this is also just like a Bitcoin play, right? And until Bitcoin moves, there's not much to.
I think Bitcoin's about to move.
Okay.
Like right now. Like, did you buy it right now?
No, I mean, I have Misty, but.
I think you're good. So if these are the lows, it's interesting. If these are the lows, then what we usually do to find like a sniper low is you look for the low right before the last low. So if these are the last lows, the low right before the last low is here. Interesting is because these line up like perfectly. And now that it's reclaimed that 319, this makes this even more interesting. And if we look at the Bitcoin setup next, if this holds, this could be the trampoline setup that she needs right here now to reclaim. This is a bit of a reversal setup in process, actually in process. But key levels, 315. She's got to hold 315. If that can happen, it's on our way to recovery.
Okay. We got a super chat here for TLRY. TLRY.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, what do you think about this?
Well, this is policy driven.
About weed.
So this is what we would call like a positional trade. You're not familiar with positional trades. These are policy driven, like multi-year type trades. So MSOS, MSOX, TLRY, CGC, all the above. You're not in this for a short time. You're in this for a long time. If I'm assuming I would be. So unless you're a scalper, which in that case, I really can't help you a whole lot. Again, policy stuff is going to be key here. You're back over 148. This is the, do you know this stock?
Woodstock? TLRY?
Not Woodstock. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I was in a couple weed stocks in 2020. So this one came up, but I got burned and kind of forgot about them. So
this is the king.
This was the king back then.
Yeah.
When it was moving.
298, 300, baby. Your boy was here. Your boy was in that one.
Oh my gosh, people got burned.
It was good times. Well, this is very much about policy. This is the king of short squeezes. There's not much to say about it other than that. Yeah, it's hit a huge hurdle. Holding 150 is a big deal. This is a stock that you can blink and it'll be $5 tomorrow. I would not be surprised. So it's very much about float, flow, and things like that. So 69 million average 30-day volume, 161 million volume today, with a $1 billion net total like float. Shares, you'd have to look at the net short float on this. My gut is extremely high. And then you have the makings of a short squeeze. So when policy changes like this and you have a stock that's incredibly shorted and you have a reversal setup like this, if this gets
short quote is 15%.
15,
Yeah.
It's not horrible. I guess it was down in the dumper. But if it gets higher than, like, let's say $2, yeah, it can squeeze. But a typical move on TLRY, just so you know, 82% is an average move to the upside on any given random day. So this is not anything major from a technical perspective. 60% in 2 days with earnings on the 9th. Yeah, TBD, but very much policy driven. All of them. CGC here didn't really get the love. If you want a laggard in the space, there you have it.
Okay.
This is the basket of all of them.
Yeah, it's the ETF for it. Okay. Meta.
Meta. So last week we were looking at Meta, and it was like, well, it's either now or never, and it ended up being not then. And so that was at 2 or 745 off of this kind of general level right here, and kind of wicked off of it. That did not hold a support. It's a rough one here. And again, I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's so tough because we lost that weekly 750 level. And so then we go to the monthly level, and here we are again. Monthly level is here. And it's just like, oh my goodness. I call it meta, like steak. You're there and you kind of wick off the lows, but like, geez, you really have to close it, like on the absolute lows, like very close to. Oh, sure enough, that's a rarity. So this needs to hold as October lows, 730. It really does. And if it doesn't, well, then, you know, while
we're going lower.
Yeah, because the issue is that, like, the market just doesn't like it when Zuck says that I'm going to spend a lot of money, and I don't really care how much, and I'm more concerned about not spending enough. Historically speaking,
here's the question. Let's say Meta tomorrow is from 580 to 600. Who's buying? Because I think that every time people say they're ready to buy, but then you think, well, Zucks is spending a lot and they only do ads. There's nothing else to the business. Literally 95% of the revenue is advertised. Like, what if that takes a breather? Like, it's hard sometimes for people to buy the dip on Meta. So I wonder how many people, if it goes below 6 or 7, 600. So not in the 680s, but 600 itself, would people buy?
Well, yeah. So that is in fact the issue. Because it was doing so good. Then he had to say that thing that he said. But, you know, it is what it is. So since he said the thing, if it loses this, it's one of two things have to happen. It has to get back over 750, or she's coming back down to 700 or thereabouts. Maybe slightly over 700. So that's where it is. Either you come back and you see this general area, which is just about 705s, and you retest this area of support. Whether or not that holds, again, TBD. You'll have to wait to see what price does. It'll probably go sideways. It will probably bounce a little bit and then go sideways. but you have to be really cautious even at that point, because what's going to happen is that you're going to run into really like this area right here. And even that could lend itself to a lower drop. It's not to say that the market's going to just love Zuck. We have to see, because it's going to be dependent on what's happening at that point in time. So for now, if this 730 doesn't hold, I think you pick it up as close to 7 as possible, and then you see what happens, depending on your time horizon, as long as it's long enough. Sorry, not financial advice. I will pick it up around 700 niblets, and then, hope and pray a little bit.
All right. All right, folks, last 30 minutes, we are getting into rapid fire. We're going to try to get through as many tickers as possible, try to do about 1 to 2 minutes on each of them, and then we will keep going from there. Let's start off with Applied Digital, APLD.
This is one of those where I think you have to know the story, and I don't know the story. So,
okay. That's fair.
Yeah, this is like you're right into some kind of overhead supply, but it's way back when, 2022, 2021. So I don't know how relevant it is. This breakout here to here, you're not able to get through a bullet or bearish retracement. So no, not until you're over. Okay. So 2407 is a key level. If you can get over 2407, okay, cool. Then you could talk about this area, but you're not yet. I don't know how much this moves in a single day. Looks like it's very news driven. Looks like it's $6 billion.
Yeah.
So it also looks like it's got earnings coming. So this has moved. This has doubled in the last month. So I would assume that like consolidation is in order.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a tough one. Otherwise, 18 is a retest of the monthly level.
Okay, Oscar.
There's some what's the word? Healthcare stuff this morning happening. More legislation. I think it's holding 19s, really trying to get over that $20 level. Similar. It's a bullish hold, but not able to get over that bearish break. Oops, sorry. Once it's able to get through 1950 and really just this right here, that $20 level, I think you let it go one more time. It's not going to break it, but on the 4th attempt, cool. So a couple more attempts at 20, which means that in the meantime, around 18 and a half, as close to that as you can. This is holding as support, which is right around that monthly pivot of 1780s. So as close to 18 or below, near term is acting as support, and that's bullish. While it makes its attempt at trying to get through 20. Looks good. Trend intact.
MP.
This one, I think was chopping totally sideways. This, I think, has a lot of profit taking going on. This is a short. This does not look good. Unless you have a catalyst coming, which you do have something on earnings. This is not looking. This one I don't like. Not holding any kind of bullish momentum on the month. Let me see the week. Or the week. This is like No, I don't like this. Really concerning. So what is that? 64. So the Bears are hitting this hot and heavy around 75, and they're winning anything under 70. But if this were to lose 65, they're going to get more aggressive, and if it loses 60, they're going to press their bets they're going to get shorter. So for now, maybe I feel like this trade is played out. I'm pretty sure this trade is played out. I think, unless there's been more contracts. Again, maybe the fundamental story that I'm missing, but there's some kind of investor base that bought here. So this is rough. Somebody bought here around 60s, but definitely people are selling here. It's not holding well. At best, this is sideways. At best, this is sideways. Until you have a catalyst, which is earnings or another contract happens. You could get another contract.
Baba, China.
Baba. Dude. We have not covered China here. I've been long China for a minute. This has been an amazing trade. The last time I talked about these stocks on your show, I think it was like very much not about fundamentals. I don't think that you should look at these from a cheap or expensive valuation perspective from a Western logic view. I still don't think you should, but they are very much about policy and posture from a government perspective. And look, it's communist. It's a different logic. And I think that has changed, and that has made all the difference in the world. So regardless, expensive, cheap, or whatever, I don't think that matters at all. I think what matters is if the government's supporting basically the equity. And they have been. And this is the result. And as long as that continues to be the case, quite frankly, this can continue to go higher. So yes, still long, but ultra cautious. This trade, I have to go to a weekly, is at the primary halfway point now. So on my screen, there's a right-hand side, there's a volume shove. This is hit pretty much exactly. I didn't know we were going to have this one. So I do have a trade on this right now. Once we got through here, 117, I actually have, what is this? March current position. And okay, without getting too far in the weeds, maximum velocity here is like 200, but it's stretching it right now at 185. I think you're still kind of stretching it. This can get pretty choppy. I think it's due for a bit of a rest. Unless it's over 185, then you can start talking about another leg. But here and now, I think this can chop inside between 170 and 180, 190. And I think that is what you should expect for a bit of a rest zone until you get a break through. And then you can look for the next leg, which is actually into the 227s. But the way these work is like you need to be patient with them, and trade location is going to matter. So trade location is as close to what is that? 165 as possible. If you can get on some kind of like little liquidity grab, maybe even below 170s.
Okay.
Down there. Can I do one here?
What do you say?
Can I do one in the sector?
Yeah, I was gonna say JD. A lot of people are asking
That's
about
the one.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're gonna go in this sector, probably the closest thing that you can get to here that without having had made the move is JD. I think it's testing the $200-day simple moving average. This is like third or fourth attempt here. It's a different type of company. Look, JD is retail. It's not Baidu. So it's not tech. It's different. Again, though, different valuations. It's all about like, does the government support them? And we know that they are. So I'm actually long this 1, 2, 3. I think any attempt here is going to be the fourth attempt. I actually just got long this as a catch-up trade. And I do like this idea. Holding literally this level here now, I'm happy with this. So this was the last high, right around 30, just under 35. I think this is constructive hold. Yeah, we got slapped by the 200-day simple today, but any attempt, one more attempt, this is again, I think like a higher low. All of this is to say, oh, by the way, we have the 75th anniversary of the People's Republic of China this week. So maybe anyways, also casino is probably a good trade right now for that. This is going to be that high and tight kind of break. Once this goes, I think it's just going to be gone just like the rest. And this is into the 45s over here as that kind of equivalent type move to a BABA. First stop. And then you have to deal with the same kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, consolidation up there.
Zeta.
Haven't looked at this in a minute. Oh. This is the same price it's been forever. Zeta has not moved.
It's been stuck in that 17 to 20 range, basically.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's 1893. That's the level. You're gonna need something. It's lost a lot of I haven't heard people talking about this in a minute.
There's like one guy on Twitter who's like constantly talking about it.
What's his name?
I think his name is like
all right, that's a red flag. It's a red flag, guys.
Honestly, I don't know his name, to be honest.
Oh man, this actually looks like it's going to get back to 19, just under 19, and it's going to retest this. You might even Is it Davis?
Dude, this guy has been trying to get me to buy this freaking stock for like 4 months. And the CEO likes every one of his posts. And he's like, look, the CEO liked my post. I'm like, bro, you're the only person talking about his company. Like, yeah, he's going to like your shit. But if he's right about it, maybe. But see, the reason, I'm going to say this publicly, the reason I haven't bought it yet, I asked Davis, what's your price target? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, where do you think the stock is going? He's like, I don't know. I was like, so why should I trust your conviction when you don't even have a number that you're aiming for? He's like, I just think it's going higher. I'm like, all right, whatever. But maybe it just ends up going higher. Yeah, he said higher. That's not enough of a price target for me. Like, I need to hit like 35, 40. Like, what do you think this thing can do?
He needs a valuation model.
He needs a valuation. He needs some. It doesn't have to be a full-on DCF. He just needs some understanding of what the company should be valued at in the future.
He's so frustrated right now.
I did buy 500 shares, but then I sold it in the same day, and I made $600. It paid for the flight to Vegas, dude. It was great. So I made some money off of it. But anyway, do you think there is a trend to go higher, or do you think it's kind of just consolidating?
It was consolidating, has not broken trend. It looks like you're going to get another shot sub 19 right now. Davis, you need to you need to recruit some fellow something something. Go hit up Shy. Shy's probably your best bet if you're gonna get on. Is Shy on this or what?
Shy doesn't come on my channel.
No, but I mean, he's got a problem.
Shy on Zeta? Is he on Zeta? I don't know. Honestly, no. I don't know if that would be the best source for validation. But.
No, but it's you know what I'm talking. It's like reach. It's reach.
Well, that's why Davis wants me to talk about it, so I can pump his stupid freaking stock.
No.
No, no seriousness. I just need more data on like where he's. It's like advertising analytics, and to his credit, it's not just him. There are people online talking about it. I just don't see like the long-term vision to get super excited about it. So.
Yeah, I honestly don't know about it. So 18 mid to high 18s is the first like support level. That's where you want this to hold. That's about the 50-day simple moving average right now. Looks like, and then you're gonna probably run into some kind of earnings stuff. At that point, you need to have some kind of catalyst, maybe an investor day, maybe a annual event. Zeta Nation, whatever, whatever their annual event is.
Bro, and, David, you got beef with Jason, bro. He's blaming you right now.
No, I'm just saying.
Zeta Nation, bro.
Hey, it's the thing. It's gonna be a thing.
It's okay, guys. Davis deserves it. You guys don't know how mean this guy is in text messages. This guy is aggressive, but no, we love him. All right, so that's what we got on Zeta. Okay, next one, Lily. What do you think about this one?
Lily. It held. Oh man, you gotta have a long-term view on this bad boy. Like for real. I don't know. You know, I keep looking at these stocks. You know what I keep thinking about, Amit? Is everything just like an opportunity cost to buying more hood? Is it? Is it? Is it though?
It's just really hard to find a really good company, and I agree with you. Like Lilly's been flat this year, and it's up today based on the Pfizer stuff. But you know, is there something super exciting over the next couple of years? Is it oral Ozempic or whatever the tailwind? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean I have really good ideas too, but like. And I'm thinking about it, and then I look at my portfolio and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I'm looking at my stocks. I'm like, why? What do we do? Hoodie.
So this one's just flat for you.
Yeah, it's been the dips are getting bought, but they're also they're getting slightly larger, which is somewhat concerning. And we're not seeing like aggressive buying showing up higher. So it's not bullish. It's neutral. This is a cautiously optimistic for sure. This is a very cautiously optimistic. Oops. And on something like a Lilly, this is where biotechs get a little tough for me. I mean, if I were to pick one, I mean, Lilly's probably like your best of breed, but it's also high. These are very headline driven. Most of these big ups and downs are headlines. So you never know when something's going to hit. Yeah. These kind of like, that's part of the game here on these guys.
Okay. Hims
could be up $100 tomorrow. Is it Hims?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, did you get your shipment in? Did you put an order? Yeah.
I did not put in an order.
Are you trying that new, what's it called? Oh. The cream, or I don't remember.
I mean, maybe in the future I'll be a customer. I'm not a customer of them yet. But to the people I talk to that use it, it is a very sticky product. I mean, like they can't get off this thing. So,
I mean,
that is my hope for why it doubles eventually.
Dude, it's really trying. It's not
You
looking bad.
know the funny thing about Hims? This was the hype of the town in February, March. And now, given it's stuck within this $10 range, it's like people have moved on and the whole Netflix of healthcare thesis. Like, it's there, but people don't talk about it as much anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you give up on this either, though.
I haven't sold any shares. I don't think you give up on it. It's cheap, dude. It's like $10 billion. It's growing fast. Yeah, it's growing faster than a lot of it. It might be a little bit more than 10 now. HIM's 12 billion. I mean, that is not super expensive.
No.
Given it grows faster than the tech companies.
I mean, is this a shopping list item for October?
I would say so.
Probably.
Yeah.
So shopping list item for October, as close to what? 50? I don't even think you see 50. 52 and a half. 52 and a half. Put it in the basket.
Okay. Fix, FIX. Have you heard of this one?
No.
This is HVAC systems. It's up 94% this year.
Okay. Hurricane season.
We are getting into that. No.
Yeah. No, this is somebody's employee stock purchase program they just want to look at. I don't know what to tell you.
There is literally one person who recommended it, so. But I mean, any thoughts on it?
29 billion. That's crazy. I don't even know this company. This probably has got to be the biggest HVAC company in the US. And I've never heard of them. But yeah, there you go. They probably designed some kind of like super special new HVAC system that they patented, because
I mean, I haven't looked in their numbers, but to be up 94% this year, 1,500% past 5 years.
Oh, because they're not over here.
Oh yeah, they're not in Cali. There you go.
Oh, that's Hurricane Central, baby. Yeah.
Also, the South deals with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I have no business looking at fundamentals here or even trying to tamper that. I don't know. Technically, this looks like complete in terms of the move. In fact, it is. 813 was the move. I mean, it's into 865s, but you're going to have earnings at the end of October. Look, this has had a massive move from here, from the last earnings, and without knowing why, I can't really give any context there. But yeah, it looks like the move is complete from that, unless I'm missing something.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got about 5 minutes left. Let's do a couple, and then we'll end off with Bitcoin and Ethereum. CleanSpark. This one is now a data center play. No, legit, it's a data center play now. It turned it around, bro.
Okay, so then IREN's probably done. If everybody's going to turn into a data center play, IREN will turn into MSTR because it's not going to be special anymore. Yeah, it didn't help CleanSpark.
I just think they needed something after the Bitcoin mining stuff has been relatively trash for them. So
yeah,
it helps.
I mean, they got a bit of a move already. To be fair, they're back over. Did they split or anything? I don't know. No. All right. Well, I mean, they've come up a lot since the lows.
Yeah.
Like a significant amount. They're back over that center line, and they bounced off at 13. So if they get back to that just general trajectory, that's 16, and quite frankly, that's not enough room for me to say this is interesting here, because that's like $2 upside, but also $4 downside at this spot. So it's a pretty, I don't particularly care for the risk reward at this level, specifically because of this lower end of that consolidation that it's running into, where it broke down here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rough spot.
Chipotle.
First of all, they're supposed to open at like 11 or something, or 10:30, and my Chipotle down the street doesn't even open till like 11 something. The sign says 10:30, and they don't open till like 11 something. I don't understand why they don't want my money, and it's infuriating.
Down, bro. That's why this.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's upsetting, because I had to end up buying these because there's not a lot of places around here. Like, I have to get these meal, like what did I get? Cook Unity, like food comes to your door.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Really? They're not bad.
There's a couple of them in the Northeast that are pretty popular. But
yeah, this is downward like dog. This is like Lulu. The trend is not up. In fact, it is down. This is not good. I don't want to try to catch this falling knife. No, sorry, Bob. Stay away. Broader trend is down. I see no signs of life. No touch. Unless, no, just no.
okay. TTD.
TTD got a bit of a pop, but it ran right into resistance. Did Tanner decide to flip on this yet or not? That's all I want to know.
Tanner sold this. He sold this a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but did he buy it back?
I don't know.
Or did he say good riddance?
I'm pretty sure he said good riddance and went to AppLovin instead.
Okay, never look back.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, like, we can look back. I just want to know. So something happened and changed the story a little bit. You got a really clean double bottom. Look, I can look back on SMCI. If I can look back on SMCI after them doing me dirty, I don't know how many times. Anyways, it is a super interesting spot. And there's a lot of interest at this level, but it's like, so here's what's true. It's not out of the weeds until you're over $50. And even then, it's still really not out of the weeds until you're over 57. So even if it gets over 50, it's really still has a lot more work to do to get out of the downtrend. I mean, a lot more work to do. Reason is here. Is it 60? Yeah, I'd say 60. So even if you picked it up here and now, and even if you made it up over 50, like, you can get that move, and this looks small on my screen. That's a 20% move. That's a 20% move. If TTD gets this move, it's still in a downtrend. That's the problem. It's still in a downtrend, even at that point. So it's a tough one. It is a tough one. And this little blip, albeit however many percent it was, I think for me, even 17.5% off these absolute lows, I just have to know that something's changed fundamentally at the company, or there's some kind of new paradigm shift that is going on. Because if nothing's changed, then nothing's changed. And well, you know that story. So because I'm lazy in that regard, I haven't done the work. So shame on me. But unless there's some more context here, I will just say that the chart is not out of the downtrend yet.
All right, last two, then we'll end that on Bitcoin and Ethereum. EOSE, energy stock.
I know this company. Is this nat gas?
Is it natural gas? I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea what. It's definitely energy. There's renewables in there. I think there's some nat gas. I think it's more renewables than anything. Battery storage.
Rack.
Yeah. It doesn't seem
Data center.
I mean, well, that's why people are excited about it, or potentially excited about it.
Oh.
Dude, those two words, or that one word, data center, you put it on any stock, it changes the whole narrative. The whole narrative. Like, well, they're part of the data center infrastructure stack, build out, compute, capacity. It's like, oh, wow. Give it a 70 PE. Let's take it to the moon. And that's literally happened. Like Oklo, that's literally happened with some of these things.
Did you ever look into Talon?
What's the ticker symbol?
TLN.
No. I remember you talk about it, though.
We can look at that next. Well, so clearly this stock has gone up and to the right for a while. So it's this, whatever the story is here, let's just say that it's not as, that there's something actually substantial here. So albeit, it could be catching a whatever wind of whatever right now. This turnaround has been happening for a while. At a $3 billion market cap, it's still pretty small. I don't know that it was ever like big. So it can move a lot. It's 2 days over the pretty heavy pivot. I don't know how speculative it is or not. But it's had a pretty big move. I think it sounds like it's in the right place from that perspective, but it's electrical. I mean, this is just pure momentum play right now.
Yeah. Okay, last ticker, and then Bitcoin, Ethereum, Celsius. Thoughts on this one?
Well, still no Celsius in the fridge. But the chart recovered nicely. $50 it hit. All right. So
they got an upgrade today as well.
Yeah, there was once a day where I texted him and I said, "Hey, look, Celsius is $64. You buy these puts and they'll go, and it'll be a quick like 10x." And then, and then it turned around and it went to, it's back at the scene of the crime. Here's where we are. So upgrade. They also bought Rockstar, which is like crazy, kind of cool. So almost. When they bought Rockstar, that was like to me, it was like, oh my goodness, that's a big deal. And I think that new trade could arrive. So $60.13 is going to be the deal. So what I just did was, these are the bearish retracements. This is going to be heavy overhead resistance. I think that there's a lot of momentum here in terms of what they're doing to continue the story. Is Jonah long again? Is Jonah right?
I don't think he's in this still. Maybe he is again.
So at 60, you're going to get that pivot, right? And this is the next kind of move. This is a big pullback. I didn't take that long. I guess oh man. Oh no, it's not quite. Oh, it is. See, there it is again. I could have grabbed it. I missed that. So a lot of confluence here. That's a beautiful bullish retracement right into the 50s. That would have been a perfect spot to go long. And I mean, perfect spot to go long. I think you get a little bit of a chop in that $60 range, but if it breaches, the next move is here from 60 to 70. And that's where that next level of bulls or bears actually cover. And you should actually get a pretty swift move. It might not happen the first time because you have 1 try, 2 tries, you get the 3rd try, and then the 4th try usually makes it. That's how we do it, right? And then at 71, over 71 3/4, then you actually go here. This is the whole setup for this trade. And I think at this point, the closer it gets to this, then the more real this whole situation becomes in terms of like the real situation up here. I don't know valuation wise what that needs to be, but that's what this progression would look like.
Yeah, and that's where it was back in May of last year too. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
that's the progression.
One last real quick one, and then Bitcoin, Ethereum, Red Cat, RCAT.
Drones. This looks constructive. What's my drone company? I have now I have Kratos. This looks okay. This looks good. It's very choppy. I think I have to go weekly to see. No, I can't even go a week. This looks very choppy. What's the market cap here? It's hard to read. 1 billion.
It is a small cap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to read. So that's made me think, okay, we're going. So that's a bullish hold. I have to go all the way to monthly because those wicks were so wild, which makes me think like, oh, that's why I was like, maybe it is a smaller cap. So where this takes me right now is that it's got to be over with sustained weekly closes 1150, and similar to everything else, if we can get over 1150, cool. Well, then your next stop is essentially 15s. That's the next trade, but you have to have a sustained hold over 1154, and that's what you would call like a break of structure, and that's that next move. Assuming you get that, then your extension into next year is to 20s.
And Kratos, you like that chart better? Is that why you own it?
You tell me.
Oh yeah, looks a lot better.
Well, I think it's different. It's different. Yeah, it's I mean, is it 15 billion?
Yeah.
It's just slow and steady wins the race. I mean,
All right. Bitcoin, Ethereum, we can wrap that up, but I think you are constructive on at least Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, Coinbase, all that stuff we didn't talk about even today. So like, as we're looking at this, I think, maybe tonight, maybe not, but as we're looking at this little section here of this consolidation, we had the, did we talk about this before? So we talked about the IREN, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The staple
Yep.
staple crypto pattern, right? The caramba. And then to wait, because it's going to come back. You give it a second, you're going to let it go, flush it. Indeed, she did. Where this is actually 2 prior all-time highs. That's in fact where that went. Pretty important level, you might say. And then there was this other pattern that we mentioned on the last stream, and that was it's called the inverse caramba. Remember? And it looks like, let me inverse my charts real quick. Looks like an upside down Bart Simpson. Here's your Bart Simpson. But all I did was I reversed my charts. So there it is in all its glory. Right here. So, yep, there she is. That's what you were looking for. It happened. It happened at a pretty important price of interest. And just like before, where we had this this consolidation before the last shoe drop, if you will, we're over that consolidation at this point. And so we can see this kind of consolidation as long as we're breaking up over. We can have this consolidation here and then head back to the upside. So that's my squiggles. Those are my crayons today. Let's see how they played out for now. And I think we are in it. And so as long as, sorry, super technical terms right now, as long as we're holding over this last consolidation here, I think that we see the rest of the inverse caramba, which puts us back to all-time highs. So I think that's actually what you're looking for. And I hope that's what, so for now, whether or not this actually gets us there, this whole setup really is the setup into Q4. So maybe this is it, maybe it's not. It doesn't actually matter, because I think that this current setup is at least for a small press. And so here we are, same thing. You have a little bit of that press. And as long as we're holding, what is this, 41, we got, so last week I said we're going to go below 4K, and we're probably going to go, I think I said close to 35, but at least right into 37s. And here it is, right here, 38. So not super exact. I would have liked a little bit more. Not enough to get me super excited, but there it is. It's like the little liquidity grab. And for now, this, I think, could very well be it. So congrats, I guess, if you snipe that. Hopefully that's fine. And if it's not, you still have, there's still a possibility of it coming down a little bit more, but I actually think that that's probably it. Honestly.
That was also, it was good timing. I mean, you literally said 37, 38, and we touched it for a good
so that came from this. So you connect the dots, and tag those, and then we had a little bit of confluence right in here.
Right.
I forgot exactly how we got there. Somewhere in here, somewhere like that. But yeah, it was this. It was these three combining to this, and that's literally how we got there. But now, essentially, if this is to be the last low that we're looking for, which again, by the way, from a trend count perspective, is definitely higher than the last low, which is way over here. I want this low to hold, which is why I have this red line over here. And so as long as this low is holding, which is just over 4K, all of this is constructive.
Right. All right, there we go. So seems like Q4 could set up to be strong, and the trend on a lot of these broader assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, S&P.
Yeah, and we still have to like the eating season. So remember, it doesn't have to be now. It's just right after, right around Amit's birthday, then we get a little bit more excited.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Jason, thank you once again. Hopefully the flow was a bit better on this one, guys. We're trying to get through as many tickers as possible. I know we still missed a bunch of them. It's impossible to get to literally every single one of them.
Yeah.
But, try to get through as many.
Maybe Amit like tries to drag me out for like 2 half sessions in a week. I don't know.
But dude, it's been 3 hours. Like I can't keep you any longer. Like you know,
no, but like if we did 2-hour sessions,
maybe
that's what I meant, right? 2-hour sessions, you know, who knows? But we'll see. I'm working on this School of Gain stuff. We'll probably end up doing a show once a week also that's separate. So you guys can come visit me when we do launch the show, which again would be a little bit different.
Well, what day do you think that would be? Do you have an idea, or you're still?
That would probably be on a Friday, but it'll definitely be like after hours.
Awesome.
Yeah, probably on Fridays, but yeah. And in the meantime, you know, click the link in my bio that he had up there, hop in the server. Every now and then we'll do some free streams. Like my restream was having the worst time. And but hop in the server. It's a free section. You can chat with me. We'll do some free streams on the server every now and then, but you can always ping me or our team. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. Maybe we'll open the server for free whatever every now and then. Maybe if there's a big, I don't know, Sunday football day and we want to do free sports betting for everybody, we might do that. Maybe only if Amit comes and he wants to, like, you know, play with the sports contracts.
Dude, I lost all my money on Penn State, all of it.
Okay, so you're doing college football. First of all, we have the quant, like a verified, like, collegiate, like, sharp. Yeah, we don't lose a lot of money.
You've done very well.
But yeah, it's fun. But we like to make money too. We don't like to lose money. But, you know, hang out with the crew, and yeah, come join. It's all good.
All right, there you go, Jason. Thank you so much. There's his Twitter in the chat, and he will be back next Tuesday.
We will be back. Adios.
Adios. Thank you, Jason. Later.
Peace.
All right, folks, I am out as well. A shutdown looks very likely. The Democratic proposal has been rejected by the Republicans, and I think in the next 10 minutes, the Republican proposal will be rejected by the Democrats. So, I mean, I'll probably be up at 12 a.m. and I'll put out a tweet in terms of what I think is happening. Futures are relatively red to flat, a bit more red than flat. We're down about 1/3% across the board. October starts tomorrow. So we start Q4, we start October. We're going to see if there's government shutdown. First of all, if it does happen, and then B, is it going to actually have an impact on the market? But tomorrow begins the journey of not only Q4, but seeing kind of how October plays out. And then, you know, there's 3 months left of the year, October, November, December. That's it. Then we're done. We are done with 2025, which is kind of crazy to think about. But we are officially done with September. Well, there you go. U.S. Senate rejects Republican government funding bill. Shutdown could come in hours. All right. Democrats rejected the Republicans. Republicans rejected the Democrats. And now we're going to see if we end up getting this shutdown. This year flew by 100%. This year flew by. We're going to have some more fun streams towards the end of the year, kind of just like reconcile everything that happened in 2025. And then we'll get ready for 2026. So there we go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Congrats to everybody. 52-week highs, all-time highs on Hood. It's been an incredible journey, and I'll be back tomorrow once again on the Market Open. Bye, everybody. Have a good one. See you guys tomorrow morning.